After every nail-biting defeat, humbling lesson, or thrilling triumph,
Hendrick, Reese at the line.
Rock and roll, let's go!
moments fade to memories as time speeds ahead, daring drivers to keep up or get left behind.
And we are underway in Texas.
Fueled by ambition and audacity, they chase after time. Fear, doubt, and danger be damned. Because no matter how many times they've come up short or won before, all of them know it's just a matter of time.
Checkered flag is out.
Until they're victorious again.
Welcome back to the Würth 400, presented by Liqui-Moly at Texas Motor Speedway. Field about to roll off behind that beautiful Corvette pace car. And there is our pole sitter, Carson Hocevar, as he puts it in gear and rolls off. Clint, let's get a word with him.
Let's do that. How about you, Carson Hocevar? It's Boyer and the boys up the booth. You got us?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Well, buddy, Texas is looking pretty good for you. Home track for the sponsor. Saw you out there with the cowboy hat on. Things are good. Everybody's behind you. You got the #1 stall. Tell me about your emotions going into this race.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really big for Spire Motorsports, all the men and women back there. Just tell the product they're coming to the racetrack, and big thanks to the Hendrick Engine Department too. And, you're on throttle a lot down here, so it's real big excitement for us. And we've had a lot of speed, just haven't quite had the result. But being able to have this and put our guys in the #1 stall and get them, their confidence up, our confidence back up, and just stay true to ourselves that we have speed. We just got to put the whole day together, and this is one step closer to that.
All right, buddy. Good luck out there. Make today your day.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's have a look at the starting lineup for the Würth 400 presented by Liqui-Moly. Carson Hocevar has his first career pole, and he shares the front row with the 2023 winner, William Byron. They're both in Chevrolets. Row number 2, a Ford and a Chevy. Last week's winner at Talladega, Austin Cindric. And Kyle Larson, who won the Xfinity race here yesterday.
Row number 3 is Michael McDowell tying his best start ever at Texas, and the fastest Toyota in practice, Ty Gibbs. Row 4 is Josh Berry, who was our Las Vegas Motor Speedway winner, and Denny Hamlin, who is a 3-time Texas winner.
How about row 5? It is Bubba Wallace on the inside. Top 10s in the last 2 Texas races. On his outside, A.J. Allmendinger. Row 6, Alex Bowman, and on his outside, Chris Buescher.
Row 7, Zane Smith, who won the pole last week at Talladega, and Eric Jones in a Toyota. 7 top 10s at Texas for Eric.
Starting 15th will be Justin Haley and Norman, Oklahoma's Christopher Bell. Row number 9 is Tyler Reddick and Noah Gregson.
Row number 10, there it is, the number 3, Austin Dillon, won this race in 2020. Cole Custer on his outside. Row number 11, Riley Herbst and Chase Briscoe.
Row 12 will be Ty Dillon and Ryan Blaney, who's DNF'd in the last 2 mile-and-a-half track races, but has shown speed. Regan Smith.
Well, 10 races into the season, and it has been tough to get end results for Ryan Blaney and this 12 team. Speed at almost every type of racetrack that we go to, but the end of the races has not been kind to them. Yesterday in qualified 24th, went out early, and because of that was back further in the pack than they wanted to be, but crew chief Jonathan Hassler said this race car is very quick, and keep an eye on this, guys. Ryan Blaney is the #1 rated passer in the Cup Series this season. He's going to be fun to watch coming through the field.
Row number 13, we have Monterrey, Mexico's Daniel Suarez and Las Vegas, Nevada's 4-time Texas winner, Kyle Busch.
Row number 4, keep an eye on him, Joey Logano. He'll be following his teammate Blaney right up through the field. Count on it. John Hunter Nemechek on his outside.
Lot of talent deep in the field. Row 15, Chase Elliott, last year's winner here, and Brad Keselowski, a 3-time runner-up at Texas Motor Speedway. Drivers who are past champions, many of them have struggled this season, but Brad has a great record here. Kyle Busch, 2 top 10s, last 10 of late, but 4 wins at Texas, most of any driver. Chase Elliott, last year's winner. They're all coming from deep in the field, along with Ryan Blaney, ranked #1 in speed on mile-and-a-halfs, and Joey Logano, most laps led among non-winners so far this year. Here's Jamie Little.
Mike, it's hard to believe for Chase Elliott fans, but this marks the 1-year mark since Chase Elliott drove to victory lane in a points-paying race. I talked to Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, and he's like, we're starting deep in the field, but you know what? We did last year. It was a complete team effort. We were able to drive our way through based on strategy and take that victory. As for today, the car balance, it's good, and they are optimistic with a little help, a little luck, and a team effort once again. They can drive that beautiful gold number 9 to victory lane once again.
Thanks, Jamie. Let's see if our crew chief, Larry McReynolds, is as nervous as many of these drivers are going into this race.
I'm always nervous, Mike. It's been well documented throughout the pre-race. Texas is a very fast, unique mile-and-a-half track. In fact, it's the only mile-and-a-half track we go to where the two ends are very, very different. That becomes a challenge for the crew chiefs to get the car set up, driving good in all 4 corners. Now, let's use a couple of our Toyota Camry cutaway cars and show you what Clinton Kevin was talking about, the two ends. This is turns 1 and 2. 20 degrees of banking, mid-corner speed, about 165, little to no load on that left rear. Whole different story in 3 and 4, 24 degrees of banking, 13 miles an hour faster, and over 500 pounds of load on the left rear. Let's go to the left rear shock and pull it apart and see what goes on during travel. 1 and 2, not a lot of load, not a lot of speed, does not get against that travel stop. Whole different story again in 3 and 4. It gets against that travel stop hard. You have to do this for speed and to keep the diffuser low in 1 and 2. But guys, you well talked about it. It becomes a challenge in those bumps in turn 4.
Thank you, Larry. Great explanation of the difference of the track looks symmetrical, but it's not.
It is not. And when that limiter starts to hit from a driver's perspective, it just makes you feel so uncomfortable inside of the race car. But you want that thing to be as low as possible. So you have to live with everything that you can in 3 and 4 to get through turns 1 and 2 well.
Well, let's hear from some of the drivers in today's race.
This place is really difficult. We've kind of watched it evolve throughout the course of the years.
You know, you have 2 totally different corners. 1 and 2 pretty flat, really flat entry, which makes it challenging.
3 and 4, you kind of can't mess it up. Compared to 1 and 2, you feel like you're just on rails.
So you try to set your car up for one or the other.
You have to always work in trying to find that balance to be as good as possible in both, but it's not going to be perfect in both.
It is a perfect day to go racing. Temperatures in the mid to high 70s. Wind out of the southeast at 5, different direction than it's been all weekend. Hardly a cloud in the sky. We'll run 80, 85 laps and 102 laps in the 3rd and final stage. Fuel window 62 to 66 laps. So stops in every one of the 3 stages as we work our way through 267 laps.
Yeah, and all these drivers right now, the nerves are high, Clint. You know what you're getting ready to battle with in these conditions. With this particular racetrack, every one of these drivers knows how difficult it is.
What they don't know is how that car is going to handle when it gets down to the end of the straightaway in turn 1. Here we go. We're going to find out.
Pace car to pit road. 38 drivers address themselves to the starting line, and the Würth 400 is underway.
William Byron holding really strong on that outside. That's impressive, Kevin.
Well, we had the truck race and Xfinity race here, and we saw that second lane. You got to be really careful right there up on the top early in this race. He
thought better of it, didn't he?
About 3/4 of the way through that corner in turn 4, that's where that biggest bump is, and you have to have the car pointed straight.
No surprise, Carson Hocevar, first career pole, hometown sponsor, big day for him. You knew he'd do everything he could to lead that first lap.
Well, as you saw in qualifying, he's not afraid to push the gas pedal down, and that's what it takes here at Texas. I think the biggest challenge for Carson and his team is going to be when we get into these cycles of pit stops and all the things start to happen that it takes to win these cup races on pit road and on the restarts, strategy, things like that. So the more you're up front, the more you get experience with that. These guys are going to get better and better at it.
Well, keeping that throttle down and keeping that track position, clean air out front was so important. And he won that battle so far. It's going to play dividends. Had trouble getting off of 2, though.
And Byron is there.
Yeah, he had trouble getting off of 2. I think got high, Kevin, had to lift and almost got passed by Byron.
Well, what happens a lot of times right there, you get these early laps with a lot of clean air and a lot of grip. but that car will take off. The exit of turn 2 flattens out really quickly, and if you get to that 3/4 mark around this corner right here and that car is a little bit too high, it's going to take off, and sometimes it will bite you because it will slide all the way into the wall.
Single file through the top 10. As we mentioned, a lot of top drivers started deep in the field, and who got off first and best? The Trackhouse drivers, both Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain, +4 spots. Suarez now +6 from where he started, as Kyle Busch drops to the inside on Ross Chastain and Chase Elliott's tire tracks.
And you saw what happens right there in 3 and 4 when you don't finish that pass, and then you get stuck side by side. Then it allows that driver behind you to get a huge draft when those cars are side by side, and then you take a chance of getting past. Now they're side by side again, the 8 and the 1.
They're your biggest movers so far. Joey Logano up 5, Ryan Preece up 3.
And I'm pretty impressed with that 9 car being able to make that second groove work right there already, Clint, through turns 3 and 4.
I'm pretty impressed with Joey Logano. Up 5, up 6 already rolled right around his teammate, and I thought he would be the one that he'd follow up through there.
You're riding with Logano. That's the Hunt Brothers Pizza Cam on board the number 22. Currently in 21st. +6 from where he started.
Yeah, I saw Scott Hunt down on victory lane. The Hunt Brothers Pizza folks, such a great supporter of this. Joey's on the move here, though, so we knew that there would be some definite movers from the back of this field with as many good cars as we had started in the back.
Only one of them has cracked the top 20, however, and that you see Noah Gregson
looking good right here.
just ahead of Logano. Just ahead of Gregson is Daniel Suarez, and he's made the biggest march toward the front and the only one up in the top 20 so far.
And you're going to make your biggest chunks of time on those restarts when the cars are all over the place and guys are trying to go 3 wide, 2 wide, and you can make the most ground right off the bat on those restarts. Once these cars get single file, then it starts to get a little bit harder until the tires start to go off the second half of the run.
8 laps in, Larry Mack. How's your strategy layout for the day?
Yeah, Mike, a pit stop for fuel, as you mentioned, needed in each stage. Split the stages in half, maybe actually come a little early to get advantage of those 4 fresh tires. Don't be afraid of different strategy. 2 tires, fuel only, even staying out on tires without a lot of laps on them. Track position will be king. And Mike, a lot like Darlington, race the racetrack. Exit of turn 2, the bumps in turn 4 we've talked about. You cannot let your guard down anywhere around this 1.5-mile track.
And remember last year's race here, a record number of caution flags for Texas Motor Speedway, 16 of them. Pole sitter Carson Hocevar has led his first laps ever at Texas Motor Speedway. All 9 of them so far, ahead of William Byron and Austin Cindric.
All right, lay of the land, stages are 80, 165, 267. I do think in most cases the field is probably going to short the split lap just a little bit, and like we typically do well, we'll just have to play off the guys around us. We've seen times here where the strategy can kind of get flipped, so I just want to make sure whatever comes our way, communicate in the moment, execute it in the moment, and if we do that, keep ourselves in the hunt, try to be there at the end. All right, let's bring it in. Team 5, here we go. Team 5!
Cliff Daniels, crew chief for Kyle Larson, who started 4th and is running 5th behind Hocevar, Byron, Cindric, and McDowell. All Chevys in the top 5, but for Austin Cindric in 3rd. The first Toyota Denny Hamlin back in 7th.
Not much movement right now, Kevin, but what are we waiting on? These tires are going to wear out.
Yeah, well, we don't know that they'll wear out, but they're going to fall off at some point. So it's going to be, we're expecting it to be sudden. We're expecting that chunk of time to happen. We don't know exactly what lap that will be because this is a new left side tire, so everybody's experimenting a little bit as to what's going to happen.
Well, Carson Hocevar looks like he has spit out the bit. He has had the fastest lap on track every lap of this race, including the fastest lap of the race. Jamie, is there any holding him back?
I love what you said there. He's a young colt. He's leading this race for the first time. I'm listening to his radio, and they're just telling him, don't overdrive it. You know, he ran the truck race on Friday night, and that really allowed him to know what to expect with this track and how it's going to change. Right now, really happy with the race car and the speed that he has, Regan.
Jamie, it's been a great start for Joey Logano in the 22 car, up from the 27th position to 21st right now. I want to mention, though, that this car for him is very good in turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4, though he told crew chief Paul Wolf it's a little bit too loose down there. Clinton, Kevin, we've talked all week about the 2 different ends of this racetrack. I imagine Paul Wolf is happy to hear his drivers say 1 and 2 is the strong part right now.
Well, that's what I would pick. I always wanted my car to be good through 1 and 2. As you see them up the racetrack already, I like the right side tires on that bottom hash mark when that groove moves up. I always felt like the paint gained a little bit of grip as the rubber would build up on there. And with 2 races already in the books, we're starting to see these cars spread out at least 2 lanes.
Now, Logano's march to the front, though, has stalled. The last time we saw him, he was right behind Noah Gragson, right behind Daniel Suarez, and that's the way they run right now.
Yeah, and as you see those cars get side by side, now we see Chris Buescher up the racetrack right here in turns 1 and 2. We got one going around.
Spinner in turn 2, and it is Gragson. And that'll be the first caution flag of the day at lap 21.
You're good. Leaders just into 3.
Don't see signs of contact on either side of the car.
Well, it happens in a hurry here, Mike. So a lot of times, you know, you'll get, we saw him up the racetrack. So
saw him pretty close to Suarez as well. Let's see what happened.
No, did not hit anything. Just a long, slow, lazy slide.
Well, that explains it. That's good news. You see him right behind Suarez up here, rolling into turn 1, looking to the outside. Tricky to get up there high early. Thing just came around on him.
Yeah, and that's the tricky part about this car. You saw one low. He was right on the right rear quarter panel of the 99, and then there was another car spaced right in front of him. So see that thing bounce off the apron. See that car of...
Didn't take much, did it?
No.
As soon as that thing danced sideways, it was gone. Good save. No harm, no foul. Wore our tires out, but it opened pit road, and it's going to shake this race up.
Immediately, yeah.
Here's Joey Logano's view.
Down. No caution, no caution, no caution, no caution, no caution.
So first caution of the day, Larry Mack. I guess if you stop now, you could run the rest of the stage from here.
Yeah, everybody's got to stop for at least fuel, but I think this sets up the strategy, Mike. What I've seen with the fall off, I want to put 4 tires on that race car, but I think clean air is king. If you're on back in the pack, this is where we may see some 2-tire stops right here just to get that track position, but I need some friends to do it with me.
You gonna think you got friends out here, Larry?
Bring your friends with you to the racetrack.
That's Chad Fincham up high. He will get the free pass and get back on the lead lap, running his 2nd race of the season. And most everybody, not Denny Hamlin, but most everybody headed for pit road, Regan.
Mike, this caution, a good opportunity for Josh Berry to adjust on the 21 car. It's much tighter than what it was yesterday, especially in 3 and 4. He said he's terrible down there. And the 5 car, Kyle Larson, just discussing the bumps in 3 and 4, said the bumps are better than yesterday for him. Jamie.
And the 24, William Byron, said he's balanced at both ends. Not something you hear too often here. Look for right sides only, maybe 4 tires for the 24. Meanwhile, Carson Hocevar, they talked about right sides only. He wants a small air pressure adjustment for the 77, Mike.
There's your strategy, shaking it up. 2 tires, 4 tires, everything in between.
So 3 of the first 4 to exit pit road, actually 4 of the first 5, took on only 2 tires. Austin Dillon, the big gainer, plus 11 spots. Welcome back to the Würth 400, presented by Liqui-Moly at Texas Motor Speedway. You're watching from the aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Since 1925, the Goodyear blimp has been inspiring fans to keep looking up and keep driving forward. Joey Logano stopped deep in his box, had to back up to get out. And Denny Hamlin did not stop because they used code words and somebody didn't understand something. So he came in the second time around. Penalties. Over the wall too soon, Ty Dillon's crew, and speeding, John Hunter Nemechek and Ryan Blaney. They will all start at the back.
Not what you want to have happen. We see it every week, though. We see those speeding penalties right there, and now you have to rebound again from the back of the pack, Clint.
Pretty big mistake on Hamlin's behalf. That's going to cost him.
Austin Cindric leads into the Echo Park Automotive restart zone along with Josh Berry. 2 Fords on the front row as we go back to green.
Really late start there in that restart zone. That's not not the normal, but Austin definitely mixed it up right there, taking off late.
Eric Jones rolling that outside. Great 3 wide.
Yeah, we got a battle for the lead on the outside as well. See Josh Berry giving Austin Cindric all he can handle in that second groove. All those guys want to get down into that. You see that 17 car hit that bump right there, Clint. Had to check up.
That was about as big as it gets right there. Hocevar in the back of him. What, about 180 mile an hour? Little love tap. Get you some. Larson loose into the corner.
The restarts here at Texas Motor Speedway are some of the most intense moments that these drivers will experience all year. You saw some moments right there that didn't look that big on TV, but I promise you, inside that race car, it scares the heck out of you.
And right behind this group, Michael McDowell charging forward. Had a good qualifying run, restarted 8th, picked up a spot here on the restart, chasing down the leaders.
I like what we have here. We're going to get a good snapshot of the 2 tires, right? They kept the track position. Cindric, Berry being able to hold on to that. You know these 4 cars are going to have an advantage in coming up through them.
Now Hocevar got a good jump there on the restart, and why not? He's the first car with 4 fresh tires. That's 77, currently in 4th.
Well, now we're going to see how good that 77 car is. You talk about those 4 tires, but putting him back in traffic, that's when you find out the most about your car. Whether you're going to be mixed up in traffic all day, Clint. Sure, you want to cycle back towards the front of the pack with something easily happening, but you want to be able to make some moves as this race goes on.
Let's go back to the restart. Have a look at it.
Well, you see the 2 and the 21. This is in turns 3 and 4, but you see the front of that car, the way that car bottomed out and then it shot the front end up the racetrack allowed made Chris Buescher have to check up. And
that was a wreck that didn't happen.
That was a wreck that didn't happen. Both those guys pretty lucky right there.
Tell you what, I'm impressed with Ty Gibbs. He was making some gains there on the outside, going for it. Everybody's cars, they know what to expect now. You knew that restart was going to ratchet up, and it'll only intensify from here.
Yeah, and I really like the way that Ty entered turn 3 right there. He had his right side tires on that hash mark, and then he would let that car go down the hill. So the one thing that we noticed about that 54 car yesterday, he's up the racetrack right now, but his car was really versatile in being able to run lower in qualifying in a lot of the practice laps.
So there are 3 of the Joe Gibbs cars, Briscoe and Gibbs, along with Christopher Bell. But here is Denny Hamlin. Because of the mix-up in the code words and him not pitting with the rest of the leaders the first time pit road was open, Hamlin restarted 36th, and he's picked up only 4 positions since we restarted.
Guys, you're both talking. Gabe, let's go. Just give me one call.
Cowboys, 5 green here.
You can't call a team that's the same name as another. Never mind.
We got to commit now. I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm with you. I think it's more favorable to come now.
All right. That's why you're a crew chief. I am the driver. I will come to you.
Well, they got it sorted out with a little bit of humor involved, but Hamlin's got a rough road to go here from 32nd. And he did not get a big Texas welcome here. A lot of noise when Denny Hamlin was introduced, but not a lot of them were cheers.
Well, you definitely don't want to be all hat no cattle in this type of situation. if you're gonna put yourself in those types of scenarios, you better back it up.
Well, he's not going to have to work hard to do that. He's going to need some help. You're not just going to drive all the way through this field in this racetrack today. He's going to have to wait for a caution to come out, try to do some strategy and get offset. Make sure that you have those code words right next time.
I never liked the code words, Clint. They always wanted to use code words, and I was like, no. Just tell me if I'm going to no tires, 2 tires, 4 tires. I don't really care if you do it when I'm sitting in the pit box. Just give me a normal call, because that's what happens, right? You try to overcomplicate things because everybody else is doing it, but what difference does it make? They're gonna do their own thing anyway. So I don't like the code words at all.
Larry?
Yeah, I guess since we're in Dallas Cowboy country, that's the terminology, because Austin Cindric, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, that's 2 right side tires only.
Did he hit the wall there?
It was very close. Austin Cindric got tight off of turn 4 there, Larry. Sorry to interrupt you there, but he got really tight, and he all but hit the wall off turn 4. And he's holding this pack up right now. You can definitely tell that The 21 and 17 cars are better, and
2 tires are definitely falling off. If he didn't hit it, it was close, really close.
.45 to go in stage 1. Austin Cindric has been out in front now for 13 laps after Carson Hocevar led the first 22 and Denny Hamlin led 1 lap under caution. Play the Fox Super 6 NASCAR Challenge. Download the Fox Sports app right now and enter for free for a shot to win cash prizes. See the Fox Sports app for details. Austin Cindric has now led 18 laps. Josh Berry's had a look at him, and Chris Buescher, who was 12th prior to the last caution flag, he is right there with the leaders. Another of those cars that took 2 tires. There's the Ford Performance Cam view for Buescher. Let's show you what happened to Austin Cindric.
You see him up high out of the groove, higher than Berry already. Whoa, that's as close as it gets. I don't see a mark on the right side, but I wouldn't want it to be the decal on that.
And even off of the exit of turn 4, Clint, you know how fast that banking rolls down, and that problem starts late center of the corner. And as you start to try to just put a little more wheel in that car, next thing you know, you kind of jump over that, you jump the curb there, and it just takes off on you.
Well, I tell you what's taken off is the speed in this 2 car. He is struggling. He's holding this lineup. You can tell they're getting close. They're having trouble getting around him, get aero tight. Josh Berry will drive right to him and then get tight and have to reset and re-go back after it. But Buescher, man, this Buescher is impressing me.
He's coming, Regan.
Mike, he is coming to the front very rapidly right now, and the things worked out perfectly for him in terms of that first caution. Crew Chief Scott Graves said, if it presents an opportunity today, I will be very aggressive with my play calls on the pit box. Didn't feel like they were aggressive enough last year. It cost them a good result. And keep in mind, Chris Buescher, a hometown driver, trying to get his first top 10 at Texas, looking good right now.
Well, you see right now, it's kind of a cat and mouse game as you go into the corner. You want to go the opposite way that car in front of you goes. You see Austin Cindric, he keeps mixing it up. He's in that second lane, and if he can keep the momentum of that car up, it'll make it a tough pass for Josh Berry. But what'll happen is, you know, if Josh Berry guesses wrong on the entry to the corner and gets tight like you saw with Austin Cindric, Chris Buescher is right there to capitalize on that and make a pass, and that's what you hope for.
Some of the biggest movers. Tyler Reddick +5 since that restart. Denny Hamlin up 6 from the back. Ryan Blaney from the back. Preece and Brad Keselowski's been passing cars.
All the Reddick fans, put a smile on your face. He is fast, ladies and gentlemen. Marching up through the field, he's moving, he's making passes, and he's doing it on the racetrack where others can't. You see him on the outside of the racetrack. You saw the car bounce right there. That tells me that car's making good grip. If you've got the confidence in your car to go up and run in that outside groove,
well,
things are good.
As these grooves spread out, you see the 5 car up the racetrack, and when this racetrack starts to have choices, those are the 2 guys that you really start to point your finger at to say, okay, now you got to be versatile. You got to move around. The groove keeps moving up, and the 5 and the 45 are definitely the 2 cars that we would point at that can do that better than anybody.
Now here are the first 2 cars with fresh tires. Larson in 4th, Hocevar in 5th with 4 fresh tires. The 3 ahead of them
Larson
took 2.
I'm watching Larson. You can see he's a little nervous getting into the corner. That car's light on its feet. Looks a little bit loose to me. Look at Hocevar get tight in his wake, and then here comes Byron to his inside.
And that 5 car did that on purpose. You know, he saw that Hocevar had a run, and he actually pulled that car back down in front of him, and that caused Carson to lift off that corner and allow William Byron to all but go by him.
Well, yeah, but he missed, went into the corner, drove it way off in there. The car took up off the hill. Now Hocevar back to his inside with the upper hand.
All right, so there's 2 of the Hendrick Chevrolets up into the top 5. But Jamie, one of their teammates who usually does very well here, not having a great day so far.
No, he's not. He was pretty optimistic coming in, and he told me this morning they were better than where they qualified 11th. But things got a little bit worse when they came down pit road. The front changer had an issue with the gun, and that extended their stop. He lost multiple spots, restarted 19th, and he's since lost 2 more. Not going anywhere back there in 21st.
Zane Smith there just ahead of Bowman. Smith in the 20th spot. So midfield there. 30 to go in stage 1. Yeah, Tyler Reddick ahead of Gibbs there.
Yeah, you saw Tyler Reddick. He just went around the outside of that 54 car. We think these are 2 of the best cars on the racetrack, but this groove is moving up rapidly, Clinton. I think, you know, if it does, it's going to be really hard to make any passes on the bottom of the racetrack.
.29 to go in stage 1. No better pairing than a nice cold Busch Light, country music and NASCAR. So grab your tickets to the Busch Light Summer Music Series concerts today, or follow on Busch Beer at Busch Beer on Instagram and learn how you can win a VIP concert experience. Concerts at Michigan, Chicago, Street Race, Iowa, and Gateway.
Looks fun.
Does look fun.
Busch Beer,
nobody
concert.
Nobody does fun as good as Busch Light. So I had a great number of years with those folks, and they do a great job.
I'm glad you had that. I used it a lot. Perks of the job.
All right, Bubba Wallace riding in 12th spot, as you saw there from the Toyota onboard cam. Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, 3 Fords in front of the field in Texas. The biggest Texas Motor Speedway crowd in the last 15 years enjoying the Würth 400. Austin Cindric had led a total of only 9 laps in his first 23 starts on mile-and-a-half tracks. But today he's picking up right where he left off at Talladega. He's led over 80 laps in his last 3 starts on the mile-and-a-halves, including 37 laps so far today.
Well, we see Austin Cindric continuing to lead right there. He's doing a good job of putting his car in the right position, not missing. That's the biggest thing that he's doing right now. He's got this front of the pack checked up. He actually ran a little bit better that last lap, but running that second, third groove right on those bottom hash marks through 1 and 2 has really allowed him to make these 2 tires work, which it hasn't worked for everybody else that has done it.
And as that groove keeps widening out and they keep getting that rubber burn into the racetrack, it's going to gain grip and it's going to widen this thing out. That is good news for us. And for these guys mired back in traffic trying to make passes, you got to go where they're not. You cannot drive in their wake. They're extremely tight. The front end won't turn. Get out of that wake and you can make some hay.
Larry, any outliers out there? Anybody doing something different?
Tyler Reddick in that 45 car, he's been playing around a lot, trying different things. He's not like he drives it way deep in the corner, but he's been using more brake as a rule getting into one than most everybody else. And he's one of the few that I've seen, not every lap, but he's one of the few I've seen actually use a little brake getting into turn 3. That's the biggest difference from him and, say, Austin Cindric and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, and what'll happen here with this car, Larry, a lot of times into turn 3, as the race goes on and you get in traffic, the front of that car will actually want to go straight. So you actually have to either let that thing sit down really nicely and drive it in further, or you have to use a little bit of brake or something to set that nose to get that front end to work, because you'll almost let off before you turn into the corner, Clint, and then let the front set and then drive it through the corner with as much throttle as it'll take.
Well, if you don't, you pay the price, and you see that time and time again.
Boy, Brad Keselowski, he has been hustling it on the outside, doing everything he can to try to get by Riley Herbst. Thought he had him a lap ago, couldn't clear him.
And it's tough. And when you have this second groove on this particular racetrack, you see him clear Riley. Well, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly what you're talking about there, Mike.
Same song, second verse.
That's a frustrating pass, isn't it, Kevin?
It is, and this can be, you have to stay really patient here, because you can get yourself in trouble so quick, as we see Tyler Reddick go by William Byron. We talk about how tough it is to pass in certain situations, but Tyler Reddick, as versatile as his car seems to be, he's not having any problems with it, and with the pace that Cindric is running has allowed him to catch this lead pack quick.
Reddick's the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He restarted 14th, and he has gained 8 spots up to 6th. So Austin Cindric, the leader, Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, 3 Fords, leading Larson and Hocevar's Chevrolet and Reddick's Toyota. 15 to go in stage 1 as we take you box side by side. But as you've seen, second place is the race. Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, Tyler Reddick. Racing toward the playoffs. Here are the winners this season. They are locked in with 1, 2, or 3 wins. Drivers with consistent good finishes in a good playoff position. And then look at these drivers. Non-race winners, but they've been piling up the stage points, and they're all in the top 16, hoping to advance to the playoffs.
All right, where's the opportunity, Kevin? We're starting to catch some lappers. That's something that we haven't seen before. Obviously, Reddick working on Josh Berry right there, but as these leaders catch the lappers, they're going to have trouble, and you're seeing it already. Austin Cindric, in the wake of that lap car right there, really had to check up, and here they come. Look at Reddick crossing over.
And that's the trouble with the 2 tires, and now you're going to see the weakness of that 2 car. He's been driving in clean air. Now he's caught the back of the field. Now he's going to have to navigate traffic, and you're going to see these guys immediately just pull up to his back bumper.
I'm so impressed with Reddick. The only car on this racetrack can move. He can go wherever he wants to. That car answers the call.
He's gained 11 spots. Make that 12 since the restart.
He's going to be your leader here before long. Cindric is in trouble in the wake of that lap car. Cannot do anything.
Yeah, and that's like I say, that's going to be because of those 2 tires. And now he doesn't have that clean air. And Tyler Reddick's going to go on by. Denny Hamlin in trouble.
Reddick looking for the lead on Austin Cindric with 7 to go in stage 1.
Yeah, you see him pull right up right there. He knew how important it was to not let Josh Berry get to his right rear. Now he's going to get to the right rear of that 2 car.
I think Hamlin blew up. That's exactly what happened to that car.
Hamlin has lost power coasting around the racetrack.
Oh, Clint.
I'd say the oil pan just blew
Hold
up.
it right there. Lock it down.
And that is the second caution of the day. This one for Denny Hamlin.
Big fire. Big
going up in
Big
flames.
fire out of the right side pipe.
Not the Texas barbecue that 11 team wanted to see. Wow.
Yeah, he needs to stop
and bail.
He ain't gonna be. Yeah.
That whole thing is.
Jamie?
Yeah, he just came on the radio and said he lost power, and they told him to recycle the engine, and then just moments later you saw the flames, and he just came on the radio right now and said, well, that was fun, fellas. So he's okay as he climbs from the car right now.
Well, that's good. The AMR safety crew is right there. There's not going to be much left to recycle out of that number 11.
No, there was those were massive flames coming out of the right side and underneath of that car. I'm glad he pulled that car to a stop right there, because it would have. It's already burning up pretty good.
So Hamlin will be the first car out of the race, and they're going to have to lift that up and pull it away, and we only have 5 laps to go in the stage. Hamlin had lost power, recycled it, tried to get it restarted, and then something internal. You saw those flames coming out the tailpipe and then everywhere.
Well, then you know. I mean, obviously, I think it had to have been oil, because that's what got on the tires and spun him out. That thing finally let go right there. It grenaded. You don't see. That's oil pan failure right there. You don't see that too much in today's day and age. Lower end stuff.
Yeah, you see the smoke coming out of the front fenders up there, Clinton. The interesting thing was he had slowed down so much. Those are really interesting flames that I don't know if that's oil or not.
Well, it's blue smoke before.
Yeah. It's
blue
definitely
smoke tells you oil.
Definitely something coming out of the bottom.
Denny Hamlin had been riding the 8th longest streak all time of lead lap finishes, 21 in a row, but his day is finished right here.
Well, I hate to say it, but that was also my pick. I'm out.
You're out, Clint.
I'm going to find me a new horse, and that's going to be Tyler Reddick.
No.
Oh, no.
That's my horse.
Oh.
I picked him in pre-race, so you're going to have to go elsewhere.
I'll bet you were on journalism yesterday, right?
Lost $100. I lost money to my buddy on that too. I'm not paying. It was a bad bet.
Well, we did hear your best stats of second place before the race, so.
That saved this Austin Cindric. He was having trouble with the lap car. I don't think he was going to make that pass, and Tyler Reddick was going to be your guy.
All right, here are how the top 5 rank in our NASCAR pit crew rankings right now. Chris Buescher, the best of those 5. on pit road, and Josh Berry back in 18th. We'll see how it plays out as they come off pit road, which is going to remain closed this time by, as they put a bunch of grease sweep down in turn number 1. Friday night, the UFL is in prime time. The conference leading DC Defenders head to the Alamo Dome, and they'll battle the Brahmas in San Antonio. That's Fox UFL Friday. It kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern. Second caution flag of the day. A little football. There's always a football. Where there's a pit crew, there's a football, right?
It sure was. There sure is. And I think as you see Dak there on pit road throwing with some of the crew guys before the race today.
How cool is that?
That's fun.
That's something to go home and tell your kids, right?
Saw him down there with all of his guys, and man, he's tall. A lot bigger than I thought he was.
Well, those linebackers are tall too. You got to get over them, right?
It's unreal. Those guys, the job that they do.
Here's Eric Jones, the Advent Health Cam on board his Toyota Camry. The 43 has had an interesting day. He's fought his way up into the top 10, was 14th on the prior restart, gained 4 more spots.
He's got him a hot rod, doesn't he?
Yeah, he started 14th. He has 7 top 10s here. This is one of his 2 best racetracks for top 10 finishes.
There are definitely very distinct racetracks that he has been really good at over the years. And you mentioned him earlier, Clint, being super aggressive on the restart.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're aggressive because your confidence is high. Your car's making good grip, and it tells you that you can go do that and not have trouble. But Eric Jones, it's amazing how you just have good tracks, isn't it?
All right, here's Ryan Preece, the Sara Lee camera on board his number 60 Ford. Last week, one of 2 drivers to get penalized at Talladega in post-race for an infraction with a spoiler. Joey Logano, the other. And mixed feelings about the appropriateness of the penalty to the crime. Here's Richard Petty and Dale Inman on their podcast this week.
One of them, a screw come out of a spoiler, and the other car had 3 washers in it, and you're just allowed two washers. Now that's getting pretty dadgum nicky-picky as far as I'm concerned. I mean, any kind of rules. I mean, and neither one of those made any effect on the race car.
Well, Kevin, I understand the Logano infraction and the penalty that went with it. But in the case of Preece, at every other track, the NASCAR rule is you can have 3 shims underneath that spoiler to get it up to the proper angle. They did. They raced with the spoiler at the proper angle. But there's an exception for the drafting tracks, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta, where you can only have 2 shims. So where you have a rule and you have an exception, the exception is what's going to trip people up, and they raced with the spoiler in the exact proper position. So I kind of lean with the king on does the punishment fit the crime? That seems pretty harsh to me.
I'm going to lean against both of you.
Okay.
And I disagree with both of you. I think the rules are very black and white in today's next-gen area. They don't want people messing with those spoilers. It's the team responsibility to know those rules. And look, I've been on the wrong side of that fence as well. So, I think it's debatable, and we see other sports leagues as well. You adjust the rules and the penalties at the end of the year. So it's, in my opinion, I think those are easy calls for NASCAR.
Okay, Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, I talked to Derek Finley, crew chief for the 60 car, Ryan Preece. I talked to Paul Wolf, crew chief for Joey Logano. Even though they were disappointed, they totally accepted the penalty because, to the point made, it's black and white in the rule book.
All right, understood. Let's check with Regan.
Mike, Denny Hamlin's been checked and released from the care center. Denny, any warning sign? That was a massive explosion for the engine. Any warning sign for you in the car?
No, just it missed for like 3/4 of a lap before, but other than that, no, nothing. They'll take it back and take a look at it.
All right, glad you're okay. Thanks.
Breaks that consecutive lead lap finish streak at 21, one of the longest in NASCAR history. So Austin Cindric will come around behind the safety car to his 2nd stage win of 2025 and his first at Texas. Tyler Reddick, the biggest mover, from 17th to 2nd in that last green flag run. with his Toyota.
And I think he would have been the leader if it wasn't maybe one more lap. He was going to take the lead. He was moving forward like a freight train there at the end. So as you see the stage come to the end, and Austin Cindric's going to hang on. So that strategy worked out for them. You never know how the end of these races or stages are going to work out, and that one worked out good for him.
So stage 1 ends under caution. Austin Cindric for Team Penske and Ford is your first stage winner. Saturday is baseball night in America. Kyle Tucker leads the Cubs against Juan Soto and the Mets, where the Giants take on Byron Buxton and the Twins. Check local listings for the game in your area Saturday 7 Eastern on Fox. Jamie Little.
Well, Mike, it takes a solid pit crew to win in this series, and that's exactly what Austin Cindric did last week. Now, his pit crew made up of veterans, some of whom have been with him since he won his Xfinity Series championship. So let's meet Team 2.
Justin Armwood, front changer. I did Taekwondo for 12 years, and I'm a black belt.
Justin Prevette, rear tire changer, former sprinter jumper at UNC Wilmington.
Jesse Mills, tire carrier, 2022 Daytona 500 champion.
Patrick Gray, jackman, played receiver and safety at Monmouth University.
Andrew Lackey, fueler, 2022 Daytona 500 winner.
I know which guy I'm not going to pick on a racetrack. I said
right.
black belt.
You're right. Brian Wilson, the crew chief, Doug Campbell, a spotter up on the roof for Austin Cindric, the Talladega winner. Pit road is open, and here they come, Regan.
Josh Berry did a very nice job that run, holding on those 2 tires. End of the run, though, told the team had a little bit of a vibration he was concerned with and needs it to point better on the exit of the corner in the 45 of Tyler Reddick. Very quick at the end of that run. The balance is really good. It freed up a little bit that run, Jamie.
Goal for Austin Cindric today was to win that stage, get that extra playoff point. Those right side tires coming off the left side this time as well. He had only taken 2 last time around. They'll make an adjustment for the balance as well. Carson Hocevar just too tight. 4 tires for 77.
Austin Cindric is not going to win this race off pit road. It's going to go to Josh Berry.
I tell you what, a good stop for 5. Kyle Larson, not a good stop for Reddick. Lost 3 spots.
And there is the race off. Mike Chase was a friend, a great guy, and a great driver. A winner in the NASCAR Truck Series in its early years. The 94 Winston West champion driver and the 87 Southwest Tour champs. In recent years, he worked as a shock specialist for Penske Racing and other teams. Mike Chase passed last week at 73.
Live at Texas Motor Speedway, they've been racing here since 1997, covers this track over 1,500 acres around it. Over the years, we've seen cattle, we've seen horses, mechanical bulls, and Jamie McMurray is here with me. We're on top of the camper with the fans here, and they've been nice enough, as Clint Boyer pointed out, with his tailgate kings. A kangaroo, a baby kangaroo that you're feeding.
Well, we're bribing the kangaroo. It's cranberry juice and water. I didn't know that they were going to let me hold her, but once I started feeding it, it worked out well. So, yeah, I got to be honest, when I woke up this morning, Chris, holding a kangaroo was the last thing I had on my bingo card.
Well, and they actually, I guess they do, they raise them on a farm nearby here. And I don't know, you know anything about breeding?
No, Chris, I don't know anything about breeding kangaroos.
One guy told breeding, I don't know anything, but if you maybe put a 50 in the pouch and then you have an imagination and hope things work out. I did see an armadillo wandering around out here. That's part of it. By the way, American-born, not Australian-born, but the only Australian driver-born to win a Cup race was, remember, Marcus Ambrose. Hang in there with her. We'll continue to watch the race with Sky, the kangaroo. Let's go back to you guys in the booth.
Boy, thanks, Chris. Wasn't it W.C. Fields who said never share the screen with children or animals?
Those are my friends. What are they doing down there? They found the fun, though, didn't they?
They did find the fun.
All right, here are the stage points. Top 10 finishers at the end of stage 1. The last driver to win stage 1 and end up in victory lane at Texas was Kevin Harvick between 2019.
All right.
Very selfish here, Kevin Harvick.
Hear a lot about that guy.
Very selfish. Hall of Fame. Didn't you make the, what was that?
Texas Motorsports Hall of Fame.
Pretty cool.
Friday.
That was pretty cool. And
very nice.
We were fortunate to have a lot of success here, so it was fun to go back and think about all those great memories.
All right, Justin Haley and Eric Jones nabbed for speeding on pit road. Safety violation on the number 20. He'll also start in the back as we are back to green.
Yeah, we see a great start there by Josh Berry. Actually, see Kyle Larson pull down to make sure that Tyler Reddick wasn't going to pull to the inside of him. A lot of speedy dry down there on the bottom.
Brad way up high again. Didn't work out this time for gaining spots. And by the way, Barry, the graphic was incorrect. He did take 4 tires on that pit stop. Larson to the bottom, second place.
Whoa, man. Briscoe, hold on to it. This isn't going to be good.
Around he goes, and caution waves.
And that all happened over that bump. The higher you go up the racetrack, he was the 3rd car up in the top. The higher you go over the racetrack, and especially on low tires, like Larry showed us at the beginning of the race, that's when these cars bottom out, and that's exactly what happened right there.
Bow ties here.
Big spin for Chase Briscoe. And he is on pit road, which is closed. All that means is he'll have to restart at the tail end of the longest line, which he would anyway for having brought out that caution there. He was in 10th place at the time. Let's see what happened here.
Well, you're going to see exactly what I just said. And the higher you go up this racetrack, right after you get past that tunnel, you're going to watch this car bounce.
Boom.
Bottom out, spin out.
Briscoe taps Riley Herbst there, who keeps on going as Briscoe spins to bring out the yellow.
Next week, there's no place like home as NASCAR heads to Kansas Speedway with action starting with ARCA on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1.
Yeah, just click your heels together, right?
Hop, skip, and a jump. I think I'm driving up there.
All right, Chase Briscoe gets off pit road after some damage repair. Same for Riley Herbst, and you'll see both of it right here.
And this angle really shows how the back tires basically come off the ground. And outside of that black rubber, see it right here. Wow. Look at that.
Boom.
And that car is, you saw the flames come out of the pipe, Clint. He has already lifted.
It's obviously worse as it goes up because the 60 hit the same thing. You saw when they both bottomed out, you know, the smoke come out from underneath both cars where they bottomed out on the racetrack.
Yeah, and that could have been a lot worse for Riley Herbst right there. Luckily, he was able to keep that car straight. Could have hooked him right into the fence.
It had been probably a day-ending problem for the 19 had Herbst not have been there. It kind of saved him.
Well, and it leaves Toyotas in now 4 of the last 5 positions, counting Denny Hamlin, who's off the track, and Christopher Bell, who's had a couple of trips pit side. Jamie?
Yes, he has. It's been a rough sequence of events. He came down at the end of the stage to pit, and they had a safety violation. So they brought him back in, and he said, can you guys reconnect my air hose for the cooling system? So you see they went in the right side. They made an adjustment, let him go. Well, then they didn't connect it all the way. Had to come back in, and you see this mechanic goes in there completely, and it took about 15 to 20 seconds, maybe even a little bit longer. So now Bell will restart 34th. So things turning even worse for this team.
Yeah, and you do not want that disconnected today. This is a high workload racetrack in general from the driver's standpoint, but it's definitely hotter than most of the races that we've been at this year. And when you get inside that car and something quits working, it shows up pretty quick here.
Well, get him cooled off. It's about the only one left. Gibbs is having a tough day.
Ty Gibbs in 9th is the saving grace for that team right now.
He's been good all weekend.
Yes. Well, now on this restart, a couple of drivers who Kyle Larson has not led today. He'll be up on the front row. Tyler Reddick in row 2 has led 1 lap, while Cindric and Barry have led 59 and 9 laps respectively, with Carson Hocevar leading the other 22. They're going to come around turn 4, head for the Echo Park Automotive restart zone, and finally 13 laps in, we'll get racing here in stage 2.
Well, we're going to see these restarts continue to ramp up. These guys know that they gotta make some ground as quick as they can.
See if Larson can do anything on the outside here.
He's there. Now you're going to see the side drafting game start.
He's going to have a handful. Will he decide to go for it, stay on that outside, or fall back in line?
His middle name is Outside.
Yeah,
and that's where he runs.
Yeah, you see that car in the second lane of Kyle Larson's. You know, you still have to be pretty careful. The bump is not as bad as what we saw with Chase Briscoe, but definitely still gets your attention on these low air pressure tires.
Look what those cars running side by side did for Cindric, though, allowed him to pull right back up on them.
Yeah, you see Larson get tight right there and have to go all the way up the racetrack. Allows Josh Berry to clear him for the lead.
Josh Berry back on point from Larson. Reddick on the outside. Cindric on the bottom, and a lap ago, Hocevar almost gave a side slam into William Byron as they battle right behind the leaders for 6th.
Yeah, watch this. He gets loose behind Reddick here. Big time loose. Wow, that's as close as it gets. He just about sold the farm there.
But here, that's just gather it up and race on.
Well, and that's the way these kids are in today's world. They'll have a moment like that. They can reboot immediately and just push that pedal down again.
McDowell, the veteran in the 71, to the inside of Byron. Gibbs and Wallace closing in.
Yeah, and you see Bubba Wallace get a little bit tight right there. Ty Gibbs throw the block on the 48 car there of Alex Bowman. Gives him a really shallow entry into the corner.
Kyle Busch is there. And with him, Ryan Preece covers the spot.
Yeah, that's 2 corners in a row right there. That 23 got really, really tight off the exit of the corner. We talked to Bubba before the race, Clint, and you know we're 12 weeks into the season right now, and he's still got that swag and that confidence and everything that goes with a guy that can go out and win races. We expected him to be a contender today. As you see Alex Bowman,
see the flames come out of his pipes, got tight, had to lift on the exit. Bowman drove right underneath of him. Probably going to think better and let him go on this one.
Wallace, though, has become Mr. Stage Points, much as Martin Truex did in the first years of this playoff format. Wallace has really capitalized on the stages, though he was shut out in stage number 1 here.
Well, you look at guys like Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. That's the only thing, you know, saving their season right now are those stage points and being able to. And Bubba has been able to do that all season long as well, but he's not had the bad finishes to go along with it. So I'm glad that we've been able to make Clint understand how important points are throughout the season. It starts at the duels, my friend. And
I'm trying to, buddy. I'm trying to get these points in, but these cars won't get out of my way. Hard making passes.
Yeah, you see the 19 car there, Chase Briscoe, all taped up on that left front corner. He's going to have a long day from here forward. No chance of being competitive for the rest of the day.
Nothing worse than having to limp him around there the rest of the. But again, goes back to your points. That's the reason they're out there.
There's the Valvoline camera on board Kyle Larson, just 1 car in front of him. And we've talked about cream rising to the top. Well, the top 3 right now, Barry, Larson, and Reddick. They've won the last 3 races on 1.5-mile tracks.
You know, and we haven't even really spoke of the car that's leading the race. Josh Berry, you just mentioned him. He's been up there knocking on that door for the better part of this race, and here he is leading the thing. I honestly thought Larson was going to roll right around him on the outside, but that hasn't been the case for literally anybody. Josh Berry, Wood Brothers, rolling.
Larry?
Yeah, Mike, I know every 1.5-mile track is different, but I talked to Josh Berry's crew chief a couple of times this week, Miles Stanley. The confidence they had coming here. Remember, the 1.5-mile race at Las Vegas. They won that race. And the good thing, they could use a lot of those notes. This is the exact Goodyear tire package we raced at Las Vegas.
And Miles Stanley is crew chief. That may be kind of a new name to NASCAR fans, but I heard Todd Gordon say on Sirius Radio that Miles spent about 12 years as Todd's lead engineer on his team, won a championship together, had a lot of success.
Yeah, you see a side-by-side battle right here for the 9th position.
And they are battles. These guys are battling it out. When they get side by side, it takes laps to make these passes complete.
It's great that we've seen that second groove develop like it has. It gives these guys an option.
Josh Berry up by 1.25 seconds on Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Austin Cindric, and Chris Buescher. 24 of 85 complete in stage 2. Josh Berry continues to lead at 109 laps complete in the Würth 400 at Texas Motor Speedway.
Well, you better be fast. If you're going to have the sponsor of the race on your car, it makes it a really good day.
Good day to have a good day,
If that
huh?
is the case, yeah, because you know all the people paying the bills are here.
Ty Gibbs battling Michael McDowell. A couple of cars both had good qualifying efforts. Both started in the top 10. Both have been racing in the top 10 all day long.
What a turnaround this year has been for Ty Gibbs and company on the 54 car, marching their way back up through the points. They're going to be knocking on the door. They came into this race only 25 points out of the playoffs. They might leave in the playoffs.
Well, if there was a point for passing the most cars today, Tyler Reddick might have had that sewed up. Let's go to his pit in Regan.
Well, Mike, let's check in with his crew chief, Billy Scott. Billy, you got your track position early on in this race. Car looks very good on long runs. How do you see this stage playing out?
Yeah, first off, he's done a great job getting through traffic. Pretty amazing to watch him work, but now we got to maintain it. There was a few guys there that topped off. Can probably stretch it and make it to the end, but they shouldn't be the factor of the guys up front. We'll just race through a green flag cycle here and hope to get a stage win.
All right, looking good so far. Thanks.
So let's check with our crew chief, Larry Mack. 53 laps to go in this stage. You're going to have to stop sometime. When?
Yeah, Mike, this is going to be very interesting based on what we just heard Billy Scott talk about right there. We went back racing after that last caution with 72 to go. But as he mentioned, Justin Haley and Ty Dillon came in and topped off. Nobody else did. Everybody else should have to stop for fuel. If you're going to split this thing, go back to what Cliff Daniels told his crew, the 5 crew. We're going to split it in half. Probably about 10 to 15 laps from now will be that. But if you want to run long, we've seen that before, you can run to about lap 150 without stopping.
Thanks, Larry. Looking back from Kyle Larson at Tyler Reddick. Second to third place here.
Well, the biggest thing that you have to do getting onto pit road, this is a really fast cornered racetrack, but pit road is a long ways around turn 4, Clint, and that makes it difficult to be able to get that car woed down. It gets really flat on the apron. So as we start to get close to these green flag pit stops, the drivers have to think about where those braking marks are. You see way around the corner right there is the entrance to pit road.
All right, let's get some straight talk from the spotters, sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless.
You go to the stage, 5-0. Still even half off. Free in everywhere. Rear's coming back. You and him, nothing else. Smart up your slides, good to push. You have a lapper, 20 ahead, blue bumper. You in the 41, watch the 19 in front. Still down there, still down there. 41 still inside. Bumper, still there, bumper coming back at your door. You see him there, you and him. By 2 out the back. Clear before entry here. 6 apart out front door, bumper clear. About 5 ahead of 47. 3 ahead. Door bumper all clear, all clear. Stage points are not out of the question right here. They're Bubba. Right now it's Bubba. We're as good as these guys. Got 45 laps to get them. Gap 6 to Chase.
Straight Talk sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Wow, what a difference a week makes. At Talladega, it was non-stop chatter from the spotters.
Well, it's still really important here, just in a whole different, I guess, sequence in how you would use things. And a lot of times here, it's referencing where you need to be on the racetrack, what you need to do different, what this car is doing. So the pit box will feed the spotter a lot of information that they're seeing on the SMT or from other people's in-car cameras, throttles, brakes, all those different styles of driving, and try to relate that through the spotter to the driver.
All right, one driver we've not seen a lot of. There it is, engine number 9. Jamie, what's up with Chase Elliott?
Yeah, qualifying has been their Achilles heel this year. He qualified 29th. They're up 13 spots, but he's just kind of been stuck there in the 16th position. No major complaints at all, just stuck. Now, I talked at the top of the show about it being a year since his last win, and I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, about that, and he said, it's hard to keep your team motivated when you haven't won in so long. Hard to keep that morale up at this level of competition. He said, but at the same time, we're not getting down. We know we have good cars. We know we're the most consistent team out there. Our time will come, but right now, guys, just not going anywhere.
Chase Elliott 16th, 15.6 seconds off the lead, and Brad Keselowski moving underneath to try to make a pass.
Well, we see both of these guys. We covered both Chase Elliott and Brad in the pre-race today, just talking about where they're at with their season, the performance of their cars. And, you know, I think Brad is in a spot where he's going to, from a points position, he's going to have to probably win a race to get himself into the playoffs. And I think that Chase Elliott, like Jamie said, they've been very consistent in doing the things week in and week out. Top 5s, top 10s, grinding away.
Spinner, Josh Berry, turns your leader. We were expecting green flag pit stops, but that won't be necessary.
That lapper caution was trying to pass that lapper running high on the racetrack. I think he got into that bump again, just like we saw the last caution with Briscoe, Kevin. We'll have to see. Oh, my gosh. Driving off into the sunset he was.
Well, Larry, that changes everything.
Yes, it does, Mike. Everybody will be pitting here, but I think like the last stage, you're going to see a smorgasbord of strategy, just trying to get that track position.
You know, those 2 tire stops seem to work pretty well in stage 1. Let's go back and see what happened to the Wood Brothers 21.
Yeah, and you're going to see, just like Clint said right here, he's going to try to run that third groove, and all the way above that hash mark right there, bottom out. And as soon as it bottoms out, the car comes out from underneath you. And as a driver, you get so comfortable, especially when your car is driving as good as Josh Berry's car was. You get so comfortable in being able to put that throttle down, but that bump will take those tires out from underneath you, and that car will be around backwards before you even know it.
You can see how high he was, but look how high the groove is.
Well, look at the difference in the line. You see Kyle Larson, you have to be straight going through that bump. If you have any wheel in that bump, especially when you're high, it will get out from underneath you. And
it also depends on how your car's trimmed out too. Some of these cars are probably lower than others and things like that. There's a reason that car's been fast all day long.
Yeah, but at the end
of the day, that thing bottomed out and lost.
It definitely bottomed out, but he was all the way up, and you have to let that thing fade down a little bit.
All right, here's the radio from Josh Berry's team.
He's that fall off and wrecked. Oh my gosh. Man, I went up there the lap before and felt okay. I thought I was all right.
He's going to go back and just be crushed on that. I mean, literally with a shot to win this race. Extremely fast again on another 1.5 mile racetrack. I guess the silver lining, Kevin, is we got another one coming next week.
And they've had a great season so far. It's the second time in the last 42 years the Wood Brothers team has led over 150 laps in the season. So Kyle Larson, the best of the top 5 on pit road. He and teammate William Byron predicted to come out ahead of the rest here. Regan.
Tyler Reddick's 45 team was getting ready just before that caution came out to potentially get to pit road. Right now, a little help in turns 3 and 4 is all that he needs. And the 5-car, Kyle Larson, says he's where he wants the car to be. He just can't get the throttle down quick enough. Jamie?
Austin Cindric in the 2 said he didn't feel much of that wedge adjustment they made last time. The ride quality also got worse. He's still tight. Another adjustment there. The 24, William Byron, needs better turn. Fuel, air pressure adjustment in 4.
Larson ahead of Hocevar, and Preece may have taken 2 as he picks up 10 spots on pit road, and John Hunter Nemechek picks up 11. IndyCar was at Barber Motorsports Park today in Alabama. In just 3 weeks, the greatest spectacle in racing comes to Fox. The 109th Indianapolis 500, Sunday, May 25th. Only on Fox. Kyle Larson will be there. Again, trying to do the Memorial Day weekend double and run the Indianapolis 500 and Coca-Cola 600. The same day, IndyCar, NASCAR. Josh Berry has gone to the garage. You know, the leader has been involved in more accidents at Texas Motor Speedway than any other non-drafting track since the introduction of this 7th generation NASCAR race car.
Well, this track has always been bad fast. It's always been very challenging for the drivers, and if you're going to be fast here, you have to push the limits of where that car is. You're on the gas, and it gets out from underneath you really, really quick when it happens.
Now, Todd Gilliland in that 34 did not pit according to our rundown because Larson was the first car off pit road. And we have a couple of drivers up toward the front. I believe Hocevar and Priest that just took on 2 tires each. With 35 to go here in the stage. But 2 tires wasn't a bad plan in stage 1.
Especially if you're Carson Hocevar. You know, I think Luke saw that he needed to track position back and went and got him some. He was really fast out there up front. You mired him back in traffic, and he stayed pretty stagnant right there and never really gained or lost any positions. You get him back closer to the front, that car can still get the job done.
All right, so the field forming up in the back straightaway beneath Big Hoss, the world's biggest TV screen when it was built. As you watch from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100th to the Goodyear blimp in its retro design, celebrating its century year. Gilliland's going to try to make it all the way. Larry, what do you think?
Yeah, he's trying to run 82 laps, but we're about at 15 caution laps. So Chris Lawson, you got to believe that's what he's trying to do with not pitting there.
Well, it's going to be important for Gilliland to hold tough right here on the start of this race and keep that track position. The more he goes back and gets mired in traffic, the harder it'll be.
Well, he did his first job right. He got a great restart and a great launch right there, but now you're going to see the effects.
4 wide.
We're in the way. We're in the way, Kevin.
And that's what you don't want to see when you have those old tires, is everybody go around you in the first corner, because now you just don't want to get wrecked.
Well, Gilliland was 25th when the caution flag waved, so not a bad strategy call if he can hang on here once everybody gets up to speed and settles in. Up to speed is Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece right behind him. Runner-up finisher last week at Talladega, had it taken away in Tech, but here he is in second behind Larson. Reddick, Hocevar closing in on second place here.
Yeah, and I think what we're getting ready to see is a Tyler Reddick versus Kyle Larson race.
I'm okay with that.
I'm
That's
okay with that as
battle.
well, and I think that Tyler Reddick's car is a little bit better, has been a little bit better on the long runs. Obviously, you never know what the adjustments are out of that 5 car and what they've done to make it better. But right now, he's got that track position, and that's the most important thing.
Catching him's one thing, passing him's another.
Well, here's 4 tires versus 2 as Reddick motors around the outside of Ryan Preece for second.
And you saw Ryan Preece just basically get out of the way right there. He wants to lose as little amount of time as possible by not fighting Tyler Reddick and wasting a bunch of time. So he just falls right in that gap. He knows he just needs to minimize the amount of positions that he loses.
Well, let's have a look at our Chevrolet team update with Larson, the race leader. Hocevar, who also took on 2 tires, in 4th, and William Byron, who's apt to be a contender here for the win, in 6th. Alex Bowman, always a top 10 contender here, now in the top 10. And Kyle Busch in the top 15 as well.
Well, you see that 22 car right there of Joey Logano. He's done a nice job of putting himself further and further forward as this race has gone on. Alex Bowman, he's had a good car pretty much all day. Hasn't been able to get his way all the way to the front of the field, but every time we watch him, he seems to be doing a good job going forward. As he goes over those bumps, you see him have to walk that car up the racetrack, and Logano gets underneath him right there in the turns of 3 and 4.
I'm impressed with Brad Keselowski right there. Boy, he's been grinding it out, passing cars since the start of the race. Didn't qualify well, started 30th, but worked his way up to challenge for the top 10.
And Blaney, add him right to that equation. I mean, those are part of all the guys that were back there in the back. We covered it before the race. A lot of big names.
Yeah, and we saw Brad do a little bit of a tire strategy right there. We've watched Blaney, like you say, Clint, claw his way back through the field all day today, and this is going to be another one of those Ryan Blaney type days where he shows up at the end by the time he makes his way through the field.
Blaney's up to 12th, restarted, or excuse me, 11th, restarted 14th.
Did you hear that, Clint? Sounded like he shifted right there.
Kevin, that's exactly what he's been doing the last 3 laps. Remember, he's on those 2 tires. He has been downshifting to 4th, getting into 1 and 2, and then grabbing 5th back down the back straightaway.
Well, sorry about that, Larry. I didn't know you were going to the shifting. I heard it there as he went into turn. Went down the back straightaway off of turn 2. You could hear him shift a car. And a lot of times what'll happen, Clint, when you shift that car is it'll help that car turn in the middle of the corner in 1 and 2.
Race for the lead is heating up. Reddick, we talked about it. Kevin, you were all over it. I think he can run him down. Yes, sir. 29.04 to a 29.12. Reddick's driving right to the bumper of the 5. And what can he do with it?
Well, what's going to happen right here is Kyle Larson's going to say, okay,
there it is.
Tyler Reddick caught me in this particular line, and I am going to run that line. And,
little mirror driving.
And then Tyler Reddick says, okay, well, you're going to run that line. I'm going to switch. So now that cat and mouse game begins of where you're going to go, getting in the corner. You see Kyle make that big arc getting in the corner, and he sees him not go high, so he pulled down low to make sure he takes as much air away from the front of that 45 car as possible.
The tell-all sign of the leader struggling, and we saw it with Cindric when he was leading, it backs him up. And now all of a sudden you see Buescher drive right into that equation as well. I mean, it was a matter of a lap and a half, and Buescher was right on them.
Well, you see the distance is about the same between those cars, so you really gives you a good reference of when that effect. Buescher drove right to that exact distance that Reddick has compared to Larson, and that's when those cars start to not handle as well. But luckily, Clint, this racetrack has opened up, and that second and third groove, see the second groove right there through turns 1 and 2 is really good. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to pass, trying to finish that pass on the bottom of the racetrack, because Reddick's car is definitely better.
Well, plus it's open season. Consider this. The only drivers in the top 20 who've been to victory lane this year are Larson and Byron. That's 18 others that can't wait for an opportunity, but just haven't had it yet.
Well, there's a lot to still play out right here. You know, we've got 124 laps to go or so, but we're going to get to the end of this stage, and then we're going to start to see these restarts really ramp up again, just because of the fact that the laps are ticking off, and you know that aggression level is going to go up. The racetrack is getting wider. Even though they've seen guys spin out in the middle of 3 and 4, they're going to go up there and keep trying.
And what happened to Todd Gilliland, who restarted on the pole? He was 25th at the time of the caution flag. He's holding station at 18th. So that's a gain of 7 spots from where he was before they took that gamble to restart on pole without pitting and try to run out this stage. 63 of 85 laps complete in stage 2, 22 to go. Nice crowd on hand at Texas Motor Speedway. They have all kinds of creative ways.
Did you see that, Rick?
Of seeing the race. Yeah.
There was a lot to see there.
Including the race. Where Kyle Larson leads Tyler Reddick by half a second. Reddick was able to catch Larson. Not able to get by. So it's Chevy first, Toyota second, Ford third with Chris Buescher. Ryan Preece hanging on to fourth and Carson Hocevar in fifth. Larson so far has led twice for 21 laps today. Won the Xfinity race yesterday, substituting for Connor Zilisch, who continues his recuperation from a back injury. The Xfinity Series doesn't race again until Memorial Day weekend at Charlotte. Tyler Reddick's been the best of the Toyotas pretty much all day.
And we expected that. We expected him to have a chance to win this race with his past success. And this guy right here, Chris Buescher, he's been on point today, Clint. We've seen this in the past from him, but they've had speed.
They have. Those three cars have really checked out from the field. You look right there in his rear view. There ain't nobody back there. They're still not off of 2.
Now they have almost 4 seconds on Ryan Preece, the 4th place car. So 2 of the RFK Fords in the top 4 here.
Yeah, and this is going to work out pretty well for Ryan Preece, I believe, with his 2-tire strategy. He doesn't have the speed of the others, but our pole sitter, Carson Hocevar, he's definitely fallen back a little bit, but they've pulled that strategy and put themselves back up in the top 5.
First career pole for Hocevar this weekend.
Bowman is really rolling here as of late. Got some speed in this race car, driving back up through the field. Started 11th, went back to 16th. Now we're running 6th. Come on.
Right behind him, Bubba Wallace just got past William Byron. There are the 2 of them. Hendrick now with 3 cars in the top 8. William Byron fighting tight. Larry says he overheard on their radio.
Bubba Wallace has done a nice job today. We expected him to also be up in the front.
This is the one I'm excited about. Ryan Blaney started in the trunk. He's just slowly but surely rolling right up through the field. Talk to me, Regan. What do you got?
Well, Clint, absolutely. After that speeding penalty, done a nice job working his way back up through, as you mentioned. But take a look at the line that he runs. He is not overly happy with that car, as good as it seems right now. He has been glued to the bottom. Does not like, as he goes to the top this time, but he has been on the bottom a bunch. He does not like the car on the top side of the racetrack. Has no grip up there. They have been working to try and make that better for the 12 car. If they could get that fixed, keep an eye out for him.
As soon as you said no grip, Kevin and I both looked up. He was walking that car through the corner when he rolled up on the top of the track and 1 and 2. Looks loose to me.
Yeah, and you see his teammate right there, Joey Logano. He's done a nice job of making his way up through the field. Both of these guys qualified terrible, started in the back of the pack, but both have really good race cars as we go back on board with the Hunt Brothers Pizza Cam.
So 2 of those Penske Fords in the top 10. The other Cindric back in 21st.
I like this one. John Hunter Nemechek, Legacy. They rolled with some cars to this racetrack. Both of them unloaded fast yesterday. Was impressive. Eric Jones, his teammate, just got caught with a speeding penalty. You're going to see him maybe later in the day, but so far so good for Legacy.
Yeah, Nemechek had a speeding penalty back on the first caution flag of the day and overcame that.
Yeah, and there you saw Ryan Preece. He saw that lap car on the bottom of the racetrack, and he did not want to give that position to the 48 car. He knows that every time that he gives up a spot, that's just going to put him further and further back in traffic. He wants to keep that clean air, if at all possible, as long as he can.
And look what it did right there to Bubba Wallace and Hocevar. Same lap car.
Yeah, that was a thin slice of lime on that margarita. Wallace didn't leave any room between he and Hocevar as he went by.
Like what you did there, Mike.
All right, here's Hocevar's radio.
Super tight. It's the right set tires. Everybody else is fine.
Simple. We'll make adjustments. You're good. Stay focused.
I'm so glad I had to wait on my tires.
Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. Another driver is not happy. We mentioned Austin Cindric, who earlier led 60 laps, but he's back in 21st, Jamie.
Yeah, and that 60 laps led is the most in the race so far. Back in 21st, he came down pit road last time we stopped, and he was in the top 5. They had a 12-second stop. They're trying to make bigger adjustments to help the tightness in this race car. That sent him back to restart 13th. Since restarting, he's back in 21st, so just going backwards, not happy with the way that car is, and it seems to just be getting worse as we ride.
Well, we saw Austin struggle when he got behind those lap cars earlier, and definitely have lost the handle on the racetrack right now.
6 to go in stage 2. Right now, Joey Logano poised to pick up the final stage point. You heard on his radio earlier, hey, stage points are a possibility. Now, at that time, he was running 15th. He is +5 since then, and into the points.
Oh, man.
That's
Chris Buescher.
Car.
Right rear tire's flat.
Caution is not out yet.
No,
Still green.
He's going to get it down on the apron and kind of out of harm's way here. If there is a caution, it would be for debris, but he's got to go half a lap now to get to pit road.
Well, that's
that thing comes apart.
He's hoping that tire comes apart and the carcass goes up on the racetrack. He wants that tire to come apart to get that caution.
He was in 3rd when that happened.
There it goes. Did it roll up on the track? It is on the track.
Caution. Throw that caution.
Not yet.
They're going to have to.
They got to throw it.
Better see it.
Not yet.
Still not. There it is.
Caution.
That was a saving grace for Chris Buescher. You were all over that. So right.
If you wish hard enough, it'll happen. So the caution is not for Chris Buescher. The caution is for debris on the racetrack.
And that's why he didn't slow down. He wanted that carcass to come off and go up on the racetrack to minimize his damage. He would have preferred that it come off the car sooner, but in the end, he's going to lose 1 lap right here. But it should allow him to stay out. Right, Larry? He'll stay out and take the wave.
Well, we'll double check with NASCAR. Since the caution's for debris and not for him,
right?
Is he eligible for the free pass?
We got in the wall a little bit too. Right on the front straightaway, you see that tire give up.
And this is a game that you play here with that right rear air pressure.
Because he's the only car 1 lap down.
Boy, just in the nick of time.
You want to run the air as low as you can to get as much grip in these cars as possible, and you want to run the car low, but you also use that car as suspension.
Listen to this.
Yeah, he felt it and let off. Oh, he hit the wall.
Yeah, I said he hit. I saw it. Pretty hard too, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's a crushing blow. Home track, doing so good. I think this should be the stage end.
2 more laps.
I don't think we're going back green.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Mike, per NASCAR, he is not the free pass car. He will not get it.
All right. Thank you, Larry.
But he can take the wave, right, Larry?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. So that means Chad Fincham, who is 5 laps down, will get the free pass. And this will carry us to the end of stage 2. Kyle Larson has won a stage in each of the last 4 races at Texas Motor Speedway. So we'll mark it down as 5 straight for Larson. So that's a series leading 6th stage win at Texas for Larson, and 6 in 2025. His 68th career stage win, most of any driver.
Cindric in particular, Penske cars especially, do a great job of putting themselves in the front of the pack to get those stage points, to give themselves a chance to win. And ultimately, the Fords have the best cars on the super speedways. And when you're in position that much, eventually you're going to break through. And I'm really happy for Cindric and his team. Kid works hard, drives hard, and I feel like he gets better every year. So it's fun to see those guys win. I love the emotion afterwards.
The Regan Smith hug. Poor Regan.
The hug.
That wasn't a hug. That was a punch.
Yeah, he put his fist to his chest. He got over to him.
I saw him lift him up, kind of.
He did lift him up, and then when he put him down, Holt smashed him.
Join Kevin and the crew every Tuesday and Thursday. Is this the best podcast in NASCAR? We think so. Tune in and see Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour presented by Echo Park Automotive. We're at the end of stage number 2. In what movie was it famously said, "You can't pit now, Cole, we're eating ice cream"?
Oh, my gosh. We just got delivered ice cream. Kevin, look, there's your flag.
Days of Thunder.
Oh, yeah. Harry
Robert
Hogg.
Duvall.
Harry
So,
Hogg.
Jamie, we're eating Andy's frozen custard.
Oh, I hear you guys.
To you.
Send some down to us, all right,
All
Mike?
right, we're out.
Well, you guys, we've talked about Ryan Preece multiple times this year since joining RFK. Today, he's top 5 once again. So let's go ahead and meet his pit crew.
Kyle Fox, front tire changer, strength and conditioning coach at RFK Racing. Steve Price, rear changer. Ryan Preece, semi-professional amateur golfer.
Jonathan Teague Willard, tire carrier. I was an inside linebacker for the Clemson Tigers as well as the Tennessee Titans.
Sammy Wright II, Jack Man. I studied architecture at Princeton.
Justin Edgell, Salisbury, North Carolina, gas man. I've worked here for 18 years.
Derek Finley, the crew chief. And up on the roof, Brandon Wilkinson, the spotter. Well, more bad news for Chris Buescher in the 17. Coming into the pits, he had a commitment line violation. So now he's not eligible to take the wave around and get back on the lead lap. So he will be a lap. The good thing for Buescher, he's the only car 1 lap down when we restart. You know, they named a flavor for Cole Custer. They call it Cole Custard.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
looks like it's got some pretzels and, I don't know, hot fudge and other stuff in it.
Here we go.
It's good. All right, pit road's open. Regan.
Should be a good battle on pit road between 2 of our top 10 pit crews, the 45 of Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. Tyler Reddick needs to be a little bit freer this run by 1 number, and the 5 car Kyle Larson just a little bit too loose this time. Lacks some grip in 3 and 4 as well. Jamie.
What a comeback for Alex Bowman. They had that hiccup on pit road earlier today. He fought his way all the way back to the top 5. Said the car's actually pretty good in dirty air. They're happy with what they have. Ryan Preece started 33rd up into the top 5. Pit crew down and away.
Chase Elliott out right behind William Byron.
Look at here.
Got one backwards right there.
That is Cole Custer. I believe there might have been contact from William Byron.
Oh,
and
sure
there it
was.
is.
Man.
Pretty
That's
heavy contact,
hard.
too.
5 entering the final stage of this 400-mile race here at Texas Motor Speedway. Down to the pit area with Austin Cindric just behind us, at least his pit crew. And the story in the first half of this race was the 2 Ford winners from earlier this year really dominating, including Austin Cindric and Josh Berry. But things changed a little bit over time.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see just kind of how the strategy has worked out in this. It's cycled again with these pit stops, so we'll see what happens here in this next stage.
Denny Hamlin brought out, and here's a guy who's won in Texas, 2-time winner already this year, a little bit of an engine problem.
Yeah, had an issue early on. You see Hamlin's day is over right here. Heck of a save by him. I've never seen a fire like that come out of a car, so unfortunate for the 11 team that their day is over.
Cindric takes stage 2, but then afterwards he finished stage 1. He finished 20th in stage 2. Lap 88, Chase Briscoe spins. He came in with the best average finish at Texas. And then Josh Berry, who
this was crazy to see this. I've never seen the leader spin out like this, gotten a little bit of dirty air, got a little high on the racetrack. I think it just shows how treacherous this track is. We've talked about it every time we come here.
He was exiting turn 4, trying to lap Cody Ware, and then Chris Buescher, the local well from nearby Prosper, Texas, bringing out the caution, blowing a tire a moment ago. And then stage 2, Kyle Larson, who this year has led the most laps and has won the most stages. So the success of the Hendrick cars, they've won here more than any other team at the Texas Motor Speedway. Larson in good shape. You keep an eye on going forward.
Well, Reddick, I think, has the best car. If he ever can get into some clean air, I think the 45 has the best car. But you got to keep your eye on Carson Hocevar as well. 7 on the pole. He's finished top 6 in the first 2 stages. Still in a good position right now. I think he's done a really good job today.
Yeah, 4 races this year weren't settled until the last lap pass. Maybe we're in for another one. Mike, for Captain Kangaroo, I'm Chris. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Green Jeans.
Man, he set him up bad for that, didn't he?
Yep.
Got the last word in, and that was it.
He's just mad because he didn't get to beat.
All right, now William Byron is your race leader, but listen to his radio.
Yeah, the steering wheel's a little to the left here. It's screwed. Splitter's all screwed up. We probably need a pit. Yeah, I don't know. You just tell me what to do. Yeah, we can try it. It's the splitter's messed up. It's my fault.
Yeah, and as hard as those cars hit right there, and you look at that splitter damage and the fender damage, that'll pretty much probably end William Byron's day as far as the way that the car is performing.
Well, that 2-tire stop, you saw those right sides go rolling by. That put him in that situation where that car was coming around a lot sooner, or he was coming out sooner than he was supposed to.
All right, Michael McDowell pitting outside the box. He'll start in the back. And Todd Gilliland, who did not pit on that last caution, it worked out fine for him. 17th after pit stops, a gain of 8 from where he would have been at the end of that prior caution. We're back to green. Byron taking off. And let's see how long he can hold the lead with a car where the steering angle is off just a bit.
Might not be as bad as they thought. Bubba Wallace, he's wrecked.
Big contact.
Well, that
and he catches.
This is the big one.
Gregson, Bowman up and into the wall, and Allmendinger collected, and more.
Oh. He was.
Well, that's the big one we didn't have last week.
That guy was late to the party.
Yeah, well, we knew that these restarts were going to continue to get more and more physical, and we saw him get into the wall, got all jammed up there off of turn 2, and Bubba lost control of his car, and that just caused a chain of events.
7th caution flag of the day. Now Allmendinger qualified up in the top 10. He qualified 10th. He ran in the top 10 until the first pit stop. They had a 22nd pit stop, and that put him back in the 30s in the running order, and he never really recovered. That's how he ended up back there.
That's how it happens.
Damage to the bumper cover and the right rear corner on Wallace's car. All right, watch the 23.
Here. See kind of a 3-wide situation. He's pretty high coming up off the corner.
Well, I think the 22 was in his back bumper right there, Clint, or close enough that it just caused that car to get tight.
He was certainly close. I don't know if he got into him or not. You see Allmendinger really ramped off the 4 car. Tell you what, when Bubba went around there, that car almost took flight.
Yeah, the 20.
See the flaps catch, and watch this car come up. Flaps catch and did their job, put it right back down on the ground.
Yeah, it doesn't look like from that angle that the 22 was on that back bumper, but when those cars are all jammed up and one's right there on that left rear like that, it just takes it feels like the front tires don't even work anymore with the way that the front end will take off.
Well, let's watch and listen here from Logano.
He's pretty darn close to him, which is why when when the 23 brushed the wall, it slowed him down enough that it turned him around. That is not a good feeling at all.
No.
And that car is tore up.
Let's watch from Ryan Preece. Boy, it looked like Allmendinger took the biggest hit, not once but twice in that one. 7th caution flag of the day in Texas. Tires off it. Next Sunday is the Advent Health 400 on FS1. Remember last year?
Sure do.
The closest finish ever? I know. Chris Buescher remembers. Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher right to the line. 1/1000th of a second was the difference. See what happens this year next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern. For pre-race, the green flag at 3 here on FS1.
That place sure has been magical with this race car. Ever since we went to this Gen 7 car, it has been on point at Kansas Speedway.
Well, that was about as dramatic as you can make a finish right there with the way that all worked out. Pretty exciting to watch.
All right, so Bubba Wallace around, collecting Alex Bowman and A.J. Allmendinger up into Noah Gragson. Joey Logano was right at the front of it, and then Chad Fincham arrived late to the party and was involved as well.
Took several good cars out of our race right there. Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, all battling in the top 10 all day.
A.J. Allmendinger's taken his car back to the garage for repair. Bowman is hauled back to the garage, and so has Fincham's car. Now Regan has caught up with Josh Berry, who spun and crashed out of the race, leading at lap 126. Regan?
Well, unfortunately, Josh Berry out of the race car as they continue repairs on it right now. Josh, looked like maybe across those bumps, did it just get upset on you?
Yeah, you know, definitely caught me off guard a little bit. Man, our car was so good. Miles and the whole 21 team, I mean, they did a great job. The car was really, really good. And yeah, I was kind of, you know, working the lanes in 3 and 4. Like, I felt like if I crossed the bumps pretty straight, like I could get through them pretty good. And then obviously we caught the lap traffic. It went around the outside of the 62, I think, and felt pretty comfortable. And then I caught the 51 and just hit the bump and got loose and spun out. So obviously disappointing, but you know, I found in these cars, if you're going to be fast, it's going to be uncomfortable, and I'm not really sure what I'd do too much different.
You guys are over there still working on the race car. Are you going to try and get back out?
Yeah, they're working on it. You know, it's a little kind of learning this whole new DVP policy, but yeah, the guys are working on it some. We'll see what they come up with, but you know, all in all, just hate it for Würth, obviously title sponsor of the race. You know, we had a great race going until we didn't, but like I said, you know, I'm still proud of the guys and the speed we had, and we'll get them next time.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Regan. A couple of big streaks ended today. Denny Hamlin's streak of 21 straight lead lap finishes ended when he blew an engine at lap 75 and was the first car out of the race. Alex Bowman's streak of 7 straight top 10s on a 1.5 mile track ends today as his car has been towed to the garage area. Here's a look from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear as we get ready for the restart. Celebrating 100 years of an American icon, the Goodyear blimp. 30 lead lap cars with Chris Buescher now getting the free pass, now being eligible this time. He was under penalty on the last caution flag, not eligible for the wave around.
He's done it again, guys. I mean, all the way, started 24th, got cleared back to 29th, 21st, 7th. That's it. He said that car's not handling. The closer he gets to the front, Kevin, what's it going to do?
It's going to handle better, and Ryan Blaney has been notorious for this, and one of the few cars that has been able to make his way through the field week after week. So I look for him to be a contender as we get towards the end of this race. We still got a long ways to go, though.
My man's feeling it right there.
One driver who really made out on that caution flag was Chase Elliott, because had he taken 4 tires and not 2, he might have been right back there in the eye of the storm that provoked that caution flag. 89 laps to go. We're back to green.
This is very similar to what happened last year for Chase Elliott. He was able to get control of this race with a caution that fell in his favor. Today he's just going to drive to the front.
Not so fast with that.
Hey, that 24 car has done nothing but surprise me with the damage that it has on that splitter and everything that he has going on. I'm surprised that he's even able to do anything.
Hold on to it, Chase.
Elliott gets high, gets tight.
Well, that's where Rick Hendricks got to hold his breath with 3 of his cars in the top 4, now top 5.
Blaney tried to get back in line behind Ty Gibbs right there and really stacked him up behind him. Not a good turn 4 for Chase Elliott. That's a 2-tire scenario.
Hocevar moving on the inside there.
And that's what all these guys on 2 tires have really fought in traffic. Those cars get tighter. We heard Hocevar earlier talk about how tight his car was in traffic, and now you see Bubba Wallace off the pace in a really bad spot.
Bad spot. That's exactly right. That was close.
Wallace 2 laps down.
Chase Elliott's in trouble on these 2 tires. Cannot get through the corner.
And it's amazing how fast that can turn. I believe if he completes that pass on William Byron and gets that clean air, he has a whole different race going. And didn't make that pass, got himself back in the traffic, and that's when the 2 tire scenario does not go well.
Wallace has made it to pit road. Let's have a look at our Xfinity fastest lap. It came right at the start of the race on lap 2 for Carson Hocevar. 189.1 miles per hour. William Byron 188.2. So Hocevar by a full mile an hour, fastest lap of the race.
He's been grinding it out. He's had a really good car all weekend long. It's just kind of been running right here in the top 6 or 7 all day long. You get that car some track position, you know it's the fastest car. Look at him on the inside of Reddick.
Well, and there was a massive stack up right there, or something that shook all those cars up, because Ty Gibbs went by the 77 and the 45. As you see Ryan Blaney go through the middle right there.
Thread the needle, baby. Let's go.
Wow, may the fourth be with you. Here comes Blaney.
Yeah, and he definitely believes that the fourth is with him.
Yes,
it is.
Huge Star Wars
for good
fan.
reason. Top 5, here we are. That car is just going to continue to keep handling better and better and better. When we started this race, I had my eye on those guys. A lot of big name drivers that started in the back of this race, and he was not moving anywhere. Blaney was mired back in traffic, just passed 2 or 3 cars that first run. Ever since then, just keeps picking them off one by one.
And you look at Austin Cindric right here. We know that William Byron's car is damaged. It wasn't long ago that we were talking about him being in 21st place, Mike, and now the way that everything cycled, now he's up there, the fastest car, battling for the lead. And I got to believe that this 24 car, as we run right here, is really when we're going to see the effects of what he has going on with the front end. But still really surprised in the performance that car has.
2 knocks right there. Obviously, we heard him, or we saw the splitter damage, right? That is going to hurt the aero big time. But when I heard that driver, William Byron, say that his wheel's off too, double whammy. That's a big knock.
So, Larry, if that steering wheel is off, let's say 10 degrees, 15 degrees from being straight up and down when he's going straight, what's going to be the impact on tire wear for Byron?
It's definitely going to magnify the tire wear, because it's almost like he's going to adjust with the way he turns the steering wheel, but it still can increase tire wear, no question.
And I believe as this run goes on, that his pace will be a little slower. And you see it right there. Look how much he's got all those cars stacked up behind him right now.
Ryan Blaney, the fastest of all the top 10 last time by. There you see him compared to the leader.
Yeah, big difference there. 26 to a 55. Look at that. 64 rolling.
But that's what now he's made up that gap. So as you see these next laps go by, you're going to see that lap time slow down, because William Byron's car is starting to fade.
He's stacking them up big time behind them. They're all starting to stack up. Larson moving around, trying to make a move.
Kyle Larson got a huge runoff turn 2. Just flew right up to Cindric in the back straightaway. Tried the bottom, went to the top.
And Cindric does not want this pass to be complete, because they all know that the 24 car is in trouble, and they want to be the first one behind him. So Kyle Larson did a great job right there of taking that momentum and finishing this pass off.
You have to be careful when you catch these guys. Catch them at the right time. If you catch them where you have to just put it right behind them, it really stacks you up. You have to get on the brakes. You lose the front wheels. The car gets tight. You have to slow down, and they all come on you.
And it cost him 3 positions.
That quick, too.
Ty Gibbs has come into the picture in 3rd. He's the highest running Toyota in this race, and he wants to turn the conversation back to when will he win, not will he win. Hendrick Chevy's fighting it out at the front. Larson and Byron.
I am getting fired up. You don't have to look back any farther. Look, we talk about Gibbs all weekend long. Ty Gibbs, the speedy he had in there, and I cannot believe this Ryan Blaney is right there in the conversation for the lead.
Well, he needs to finish this pass quickly, because being side by side has pulled Ryan Blaney right back up to him, so he needs to finish it right here.
All right, Gibbs to 2nd. Chevy, Toyota, Chevy, Ford. Kyle Larson has taken the lead in Texas with 77 to go.
drop the confetti. Get ready, drop the confetti.
Those are the most recent winners on mile-and-a-half tracks, all different. And Kyle Larson could, of course, break that up today. But Ryan Blaney has just passed Ty Gibbs for second spot, so it's Chevy, Ford, Toyota in the top 3 spots. Reddick, Hocevar, Priest, Cindric, Logano, and look at Gilliland there in 9th after having that odd strategy back at the end of stage number 2, and William Byron has slid to 10th after restarting in the lead.
Well, Kyle Larson's going to have his hands full with this 12 car for the rest of the race. There's 70 laps to go, but Ryan Blaney has just been making his way through this field, and the closer he gets to the front, Clint, the faster that car goes.
It sure does, and it's amazing. He does it each and every week, and it really doesn't matter if it's a short track or an intermediate or anything else. He's one of the only guys that can drive up through the field, and it's his ability to drive a looser car than the rest.
And here's one of the others, Joey Logano, after not qualifying well, working his way up through the field. He started this race back in 27th and has just soldiered on like the defending champion of this series that he is, to put himself in a position to capitalize.
Yeah, and on board with Ryan Priest here, you hear him continue to shift through turns 1 and 2, but we all had a lot of questions about that penalty last week, and just talking about the momentum. And then they qualified bad. They got a bad qualifying draw with the way that they finished, and now he's running back through the field. No questions anymore.
Well, William Byron's on pit road, kind of wondering if maybe that should have been something he could have addressed under the caution flag, but why give up the front row if you're going to restart there? So here he is.
Well, they've got what they've got now, and they've made their bed, and they just need to change the tires, make an adjustment to what they have, because they don't have time to fix that damage.
Window, Larry?
Yeah, they got him to the fuel window. Rudy Fugel told him about 3 laps ago, I want to get to the fuel window. They can make it to the end from here, but they need these green flags stops to cycle through.
Well, that certainly makes sense as a strategy rather than stopping under the caution to fix something when you have the choice of restarting on the front row. Well done.
And there's just no way they're going to do anything to that splitter or anything that's up there. So you might as well adjust to what the handling is of that car and try to make the most of it on this last run.
And they have wins in the bank. All right, so don't need to gamble, do you?
No. Well, you can. And
well, yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can gamble. You don't have to worry about the win.
Right.
You can go out there and just try to play the most aggressive call that you can to get the best finish.
Kyle Busch around the outside of Brad Keselowski going after Ty Dillon. This will put him up to 11th spot. Kyle turned 40 this week. I remember when he was too young to run a cup race. NASCAR wouldn't let him until he turned 18. Changed the rule just for that purpose. And here he is. Now this weekend, his son Brexton in microsprints made a daring last lap pass. It was an awesome move. The kind his dad probably would have, could have made, but made the move to win the race. And I'm sure that's put a bigger smile on Kyle Busch's face this week as anything else that's happened.
Well, right now the smile that he has on his face is by passing those 3 cars in 2 laps. So he's on the move forward.
Well, and Eric Jones is too. Had that speeding penalty, and there he is right behind him, marching back up through the field. There's Brexton. Let's go. He's a spit and mirror image of that father of his.
Eric Jones right behind Kyle Busch and moving up in the same fashion. A couple of car lengths behind Busch.
Eric's been really consistent all day. He's been right around that top end of the top 10 right there. So solid day for Eric Jones.
And Jones has continued that great Racing to Read program that he's done at elementary schools now all across the country. Well done. 63 laps to go. One more pit stop to come. Kyle Larson leading Ryan Blaney. 58 laps to go. 8th place battle, Cindric and Gilliland. There's activity on pit road, Larry.
Yeah, Mike, if you're going to split it in half, the window is open now over the next 5 to 10 laps. If you're going to go as far as you can on fuel, that's about lap 230 to 235, which is about 20 to 25 laps from now.
All right, green flag pit stops have begun. Josh Berry has just come out from the garage back on track.
Yeah, and you look at those pit crew rankings right there, see a really big difference between that 5 crew and that 12 crew, and this is probably going to come down to what happens on pit road right here. Because right now, if the 5 car loses that track position to the 12, this race is, you know, if it goes green, it's probably over.
Well, we asked some of the drivers about the challenges of making a green flag pit stop here.
This track being a track that's so hard to pass at, your pit road stuff's gonna be really important.
I think at Texas, any green flag stops are really tough because there's so much speed through 3 and 4, and definitely tough just getting on pit road.
It's extremely important to hit your sign. You know, that's where those pit crew guys are basing everything off of.
We start the stop. You know, we make or break the pit stop.
It's a teamwork. They do most of it, but it's a teamwork.
Austin Cindric on pit road as the various strategies begin to play out.
Yeah, and right now that strategy is that 41 car in the middle of the 2 leaders has split those cars up. He's already pitted faster than the 12 car, but it's made some distance between Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney that was not there before.
4 tires and fuel for Cindric, who's led 60 laps today, 1 less than Larson so far.
And these are the types of situations that you just never know how they're going to work out. And see Cole right there behind Larson. The other thing that you see right behind this group is Tyler Reddick has been really fast the last several laps and has made his way to the back bumper, well, within a few car lengths of the back bumper, that 12.
And Larson has responded when Reddick picked up the pace running below 29.50s. Larson did likewise. Custer there on fresh tires, just 2 laps down to the leader. There are 4 cars 1 lap down, including Cindric, who just pitted.
Yeah, and Cole wants to get by Kyle Larson. He wants to unlap himself. He wants to do everything that he can do to keep himself from being 2 laps down. So he wants this pass to happen as fast as possible, if possible.
And if Larson has to fend off Custer, that's an opportunity for Blaney to close ground.
And it's made him change his line. Kyle Larson is definitely trying to defend that position. He does not want to be behind that 41 car because it will take some air off the front of his car and slow his car down. So he's actually gone into defense, Clint, to defend this lap car of Cole.
Look at the momentum that Blaney gets off the top of the corner here. Same problem's going to happen with Blaney, though. He doesn't want that guy there either. The only way he wants him there is if he goes by the leader and he's looking to the outside of him. Might see it right here off of 4.
Jamie.
It's been a career day for Carson Hocevar. Started on pole for the first time in his Cup career. Led 22 laps. Been running in the top 5. Only complained a little bit tight in 3 and 4. A 4-tire stop here. Got his first career win in trucks 2 years ago here at Texas. Can he do it today in Cup?
All right, Ty Gibbs on pit road as they set up, put right sides on the car. Fill it with fuel. That lap car gave Larson a bit of a break there. He was able to kind of use it as a pick and keep Custer at bay.
Well, he gave him a break, but he crossed that wake in front of him. So right now, Kyle Larson is doing everything he can to keep Cole Custer in between that car of he and Ryan Blaney.
Pit stops continue. Ryan Preece.
Oh!
And crash goes the 62. Jesse Love's race is going to come to an end right here, and caution will be out.
That's going to cost some of these guys. Preece, talked about Byron has been on pit road.
Yeah, so Preece is going to be questionable right here as you see Kyle Larson.
You're high-sided, you won't roll.
Yeah,
I can't roll. Her tires are blown out of it.
Yeah, and what we just witnessed right there was Kyle Larson take the caution flag and not waste any time slowing down. He wanted to make sure that he tried to put Ryan Preece a lap down and as many guys as possible that were on pit road so that they couldn't stay out. So he accelerated that caution pace to make sure he kept those guys a lap down.
So there are 8 drivers now 1 lap down, most of whom had just made pit stops. And since we didn't complete the pit stop cycle, they'll have to stay out and take the wave around, provided all the lead lap cars stop. Let's see what happened here to Jesse Love.
It's on the inside of Van Gisbergen and just got loose up off of 2, come around.
And that's the experience that he needs. I know that this is an untimely caution and didn't want to wind up in the fence, but Jesse Love's here to learn, right? Like he has to understand what these cars are all about, where that edge is, and he'll know that feeling and before that happens next time.
Looks like with 2 flat rear tires, they'll have to hook that one up and haul it to the garage. Cody Ware will get the free pass. He was not among the cars that pitted. I believe he had just been overlapped by the leader, Kyle Larson. So that will give us 7 cars 1 lap down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a Elliott, Cindric, Byron, Hocevar, Gibbs, Gilliland.
So everybody that pitted, Larry tells us, is a lap down because of making that pit stop under green.
Well, it was right on the verge of Ryan Preece leading this race right here. And if you go back and really pay attention to the things that just happened in this race, that could be a key moment. That could have been a moment that really turned Ryan Preece's on pit road moment into leader of the race. And Kyle Larson and those guys realized that, and they slowed down, but they didn't slow down as you would on a normal caution.
I think you'll see a mixed bag of strategy here. Track position. This is probably your last pit stop.
And it'll come with 54 laps to go in the race. 19 lead lap cars. And we'll see who comes to pit road. Kyle Larson leads them in. Regan.
Ryan Blaney on the top left of your screen. They have been loose all day long. This is the first report from him, though, that it's on the snug side. You'll see right here they're going to go with 4 tires on Ryan Blaney's car. The 45 of Tyler Reddick, he was too snug this run. Been fighting with that just a little bit. And the 5 of Kyle Larson, very close still, just a little bit too tight as it's going around the corners, but it's not bound up at all.
All right, I believe all the lead lap cars pitted.
McDowell coming out there. I think that's obviously a 2-tire stop.
And Larson leads them off pit road. Yes, plus 15 for McDowell.
Reddick.
Plus 8 for Zane Smith. All right, we'll take our last break before the checkered flag here with 46 to go in Texas. And the field all jumbled up with a caution and pit stops. Welcome back to Texas, where 8 cars took the wave around, cars that had stopped under green before that caution came out. And they are back on the lead lap in positions 20 through about 27. So we'll restart with 28 cars on the lead lap. Cole Custer, the only car 1 lap down. Well, we gave you the predictive on the pit stops, and here is the way it sorts out. About 9/10 of a second difference between the driver, his time yellow line to yellow line on pit road, and the time of the pit stop.
Well, he beat him in every category. And, you know, you look at Kyle Larson's team overall ranked 6th, and Ryan Blaney 23rd, as we showed earlier. But that's all areas.
Yep. Now, on this restart, the question mark's going to be Michael McDowell in 2nd spot. He gained 15 spots by taking on just 2 tires. And we've seen that work okay over the long run, but not so well on fire off first couple of laps on a restart.
Running out of options, bud. 44 laps to go. It's time to gamble. Put the cards on the table and let's allow luck to operate here. Give it a chance anyhow.
Well, and as we've heard so many times from Larry, Travis Peterson, he's not scared to take a chance.
Nope. McDowell started this race in 5th. 2 of the 3 Spire cars in the top 5, with Hocevar the pole sitter.
Starting to cool down, seeing some shade right there on this racetrack, Kevin. You think speeds will pick up?
Well, it definitely changes the things that happen here in turns 1 and 2. That's where that shade goes first, and the speeds definitely pick up.
I like McDowell choosing the outside, because with battling all of those cars that got 4 fresh tires, if you got only 2, you got more room to escape on the outside than if you're down low.
That's right. And you see that car right. We think Michael McDowell's car is going to push. It's not going to go through turns 1 and 2 like all these guys on 4 tires. But you see that car right behind him of Kyle Busch. They had a great pit stop right there. Had their first, their 4th, sub 10-second pit stop there to put them out in 4th position and give themselves a shot to win this race.
Kyle Busch, one of several new players up there in the top 10 as we get ready for this restart. Eric Jones up in 7th, Zane Smith in 8th, Brad Keselowski in 9th. Christopher Bell in 10th.
Obviously a big-time setback for a lot of those drivers that were on pit road under green flag conditions when that caution came out, but new life. Kyle Busch, Logano, Jones is back in the game. Zane Smith, Keselowski, Bell.
And this is when it gets wild.
Yes, sir.
It'll be 42 to go when they come to the line for the restart. 10 different leaders, 14 lead changes today so far, and we're back to green. Larson, McDowell head for turn 1.
2nd row did not get a good jump. Stenhouse is having trouble back there in the back. Oh, Bell's way up the racetrack.
Bell to the back, hauls it in. Another car in trouble way in the back. I think that was Hocevar.
Hocevar, I believe, yes.
Yep.
There you see that 45 car, Tyler Reddick, up on the outside of Ryan Blaney. This could be a massive move with what we think on the long run is probably the best car with Ryan Blaney. And right now he's got that clean racetrack. We know it takes a couple laps. Blaney's clear right there.
He got loose into the corner. Reddick into turn 1. Car was wiggling around.
Christopher Bell a lap ago in turn 2 fell from 10th to 21st.
Seems like it takes a few laps for that groove that Reddick is in to overcome the advantages that bottom lane has on sticker tires. But he's definitely putting that car up there to try to make it work.
Reddick around the outside for 5th place.
So 3 to the 43, 6 behind him.
How about Michael McDowell? We thought with 2 tires he would just fade toward the back. He is right in Larson's tire tracks in 2nd spot and holding on to it.
Well, and that guy right behind him, Kyle Busch, we know how hungry he is to get his car back in victory lane.
Oh no! Around he goes and into the wall in turn 4.
right, let it roll, you're good, you got him.
And Ricky Stenhouse, who fired off 14th on that restart, went for a big slide through the ball field between pit road and the front straightaway.
Yeah, and that car.
Right side's on it, guys. Go ahead and get right sides on in.
About the same
Left
vicinity
on,
as that
get
bump,
left.
Kevin.
Front splitter looks fine. Don't see any other damage, but what happened here?
Well, this is, I mean, I would consider this still on low air, wouldn't you, Clint? Because the way that this car goes through that, you see it right over that bump. And we've heard a couple drivers talk about making sure that car is straight. If you have that wheel in there, and these things are so close to being around, if you hit that bump wrong with wheel in it, you have to have the wheel straight. And man, we have seen so many opportunities out of this 8 car.
From Joey Logano.
He was going for it.
Just got out from underneath him.
There it is. See
That's
the
where it starts.
Dust fly out of the car. Man, he was close, but Stenhouse almost clipped him when he came back across the racetrack.
Brushed the wall with the right rear corner.
Watch this.
Yikes. That's what put the 47 in the grass.
Good job for Ricky. He avoided a big one right there.
Ooh,
oh,
got a little air too.
Right. This team is just so close to, they're trying.
They are
Everybody's digging. They're getting close. You don't run up front like that as long as they'll have their day.
And they had the speed. They had the speed today. Made the pit stop, put themselves in position, and
you know, Kyle Busch is now, I said he turned 40. Okay, we've talked about that, which makes him one of the old, bold drivers in the sport, because he harkens back to a time when a good driver could carry a car that wasn't quite as good as it needed to be on a given day. With this Gen 7 car, are those days gone forever? Can a good driver carry a car?
No, I think I think the good driver still can carry a car to, you know,
an
extent point. Yeah.
But I also think that the days, and I've heard him, and I always, whether it was a truck or an Xfinity, the reason he won so many of those is he crew chiefed from the car.
Yeah.
That
That's
guy
the
knew
biggest difference.
exactly what setup he was looking for and how that car was supposed to feel, and could walk them right to victory lane through the seat of his pants. These cars, simulators, all the engineering that's involved in them,
It's
not
about
so
the,
much.
It's about the feedback.
That's right.
It's about the direction. It's about finding the next thing that moves the needle forward. And the driver has such a big part in that role of being able to say, okay, this is good, this is bad, let's go here, let's go there, and helping with the crew chief and engineer guide that.
Now, this caution is a big break for William Byron, because now they get a chance to reset that front end, something they did not have time to do on their last stop.
All about that splitter, isn't it?
It really is, and we covered it from the very beginning, you know, with the shape of that, the front of that splitter and the damage and everything, definitely wasn't going to help it.
We're going to give Ricky Stenhouse an attaboy, and he's going to be our big move of the race, sponsored by Pods. Sometimes it's a move to take the lead. Sometimes it's a move to not be part of somebody else's problem. Sharp move there by Stenhouse. Gets a little bounce and a little air as he goes through the ball field.
And you talk about going through the ball field. Here comes the air, but got lucky with the grass. Saw it in the trucks race and the Xfinity race. That grass really swallowed him up and tore the front end of these cars up. Look at that. Dukes of Hazzard, baby.
Yeah, well, there's not much travel in that suspension.
How close was it? Have a look from his car.
Oh.
He had it woed up pretty good. Saw him
Well, he gassed it up.
Well, he had to. Coming right down in front of him.
And that is our Pods big move of the race. So consider our top 7 drivers right now. 4 of them have overcome penalties today. Michael McDowell is second. He pitted out of the box. Ryan Blaney is 3rd. He was nabbed for speeding. Eric Jones is 6th, speeding. John Hunter Nemechek 7th, speeding. See a pattern here?
There is a pattern, and really when you look down, you know, from 5th, 6th, 7th on back, you see a lot of guys that we haven't seen up front. You see Zane Smith in 8th. You see Daniel Suarez in 9th. Brad Keselowski in 10th. Stenhouse, who we just covered there, in 11th. And the list goes all the way down. Those are the guys that stayed out and didn't get themselves caught under the caution, got themselves a lot better track position, and all those guys that pitted are still behind them.
Much needed finishes for a lot of these guys. I heard you say Keselowski came right into mind. Need some points. We got to start gaining momentum somewhere. Nemechek, Jones, Smith, all those guys can get a good points day out of this, have to stay in it.
Well, I'm not sure how long it'll last, but I still remain quite impressed with McDowell's run on 2 tires against these other cars with 4 and holding on to 2nd spot there. Kyle Larson has been as low as 22nd today. Michael McDowell 32nd. Ryan Blaney 37th. Wow.
Well, that just tells me it's a timing thing. We've cycled back around to the lead. We've had cars in the carnage and wrecks take themselves out, put you right back in the track position game where you need to be when the time's right.
And a lot of times right here, you know, as we have these cautions, they just breed more cautions.
Larry, how many laps does Michael McDowell have on those tires?
43 green flag laps on his left side tires. Remember, they went with rights. That's compared to basically everybody he's racing up at the front.
Would that concern you?
I see track position being well more important than 2 left side tires.
And these cautions help put him on a little better equal ground, because now everybody has to fire off on hot tires.
Okay. It'll be 33 laps to go when they come to the line. Larson and McDowell, 2 Chevys, leading the back to green once again.
Well, you see Kyle Larson take off, and Ryan Blaney did not, and that's going to allow Michael to fall into that slot if he can pull that car down the racetrack, but he can't, Clint.
Well, I think he was afraid to. He didn't want to get tight in the wake of Larson in front of him. Elected to stay high, and I think it may have cost him a little bit. Not yet.
29 cars on the lead lap, including Cole Custer, who got the free pass, as Blaney moves to 2nd.
Eric Jones still on that outside. Making hay. Here he comes.
That Jones boy against Joey Logano for 6th place.
He's had a good car all weekend long.
They have done a great job. He and Nemechek have done a great job, and really impressed with one of our champs right there, Joey Logano, as it gets wild back here.
Look out. Not a good angle to the entrance.
A lot of blocking.
Now Zane Smith drops to the bottom. Stenhouse trying to move around the outside. Stenhouse up to 11th. Logano going after Reddick for 4th.
Reddick, he continues to try to make that 2nd lane work up there.
Back straightaway crash. Priest hard on the wall with Hocevar and Cody Ware. 10th caution of the day.
It'll be a frustrating end to a great weekend for Hocevar. So much hope, sitting on the pole, extremely fast. Yesterday in his qualifying run.
Well, this is what we talked about.
Didn't
yeah, these guys are, you know, they just get more and more aggressive and take more and more chances as this goes on, and these cautions just keep coming.
That thing is all catterwampus down pit road.
Watch your speed getting in here.
He's in the
let him get stopped before you go.
Far pit stall.
Just in case.
Priest makes it to his pit, and so does Hocevar. That right rear at least a toe link. Maybe more.
See him back here, Hocevar. Look at the angle in which that car's pointed versus a car on the outside of him. Pushing him higher and higher up the corner. Hocevar's tight. He's probably out of the gas by now.
Yeah.
Priest gets into the wall.
Hocevar
I'll turn him over.
Yeah, Hocevar just kept coming up the racetrack right there and
run him out of room,
got the 60 out of room and got himself wrecked after the 60 wreck.
Easy to do in turn 2.
So easy when those cars take off onto the flat like that.
All right, let's ride with Ryan Priest. think Cody Ware might have got turned by Cole Custer. There may have been contact there as they all tried to check up.
Look at that. Saw him looking at him too, out of the corner of his eye. He won't be very happy about that.
All right, let's watch from Chris Buescher.
Listen to him downshift.
Only way you can get woed up. Fantastic job.
Yep.
Broke the toe link on this car.
Jamie?
Well, Travis Peterson is the crew chief for Michael McDowell. They're on those older tires. We talked about that. What's that confidence level right now, Travis? You guys think you got what you need here to perhaps steal one?
You know, I don't have any issue with the tires for sure. A lot of guys have done that today. We were fortunate because of our misfortune and pit penalties earlier that we had the opportunity to do rights and not have to wait on fuel there, which gained us a lot. You know, I wish we had one restart to go because we settled in behind the 5. We had a run with a pass for the lead. Start at third here. I think we'll have another shot at it. So I believe he can do it. We needed track position. We unfortunately lost it earlier, but now we got it back again. So I believe Mike will go execute right here.
All right, let's keep our eyes on the 71, Mike.
All right, thank you. He's had a great day so far.
What do you think about that optimism, Clint?
I love it. Like a crew chief that backs his driver up. His biggest problem is those 2 cars in front of him have been the fastest cars.
Yeah, Michael talked about pre-race finishing 11th to 13th, and this will be a huge improvement for that.
10 cautions today so far.
I think that latter 2 words you just said were very important.
So far?
That would be them.
28 laps to go. Plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, and we covered it right from the beginning. This place has been, when it was built, this place has just been treacherous and just a really difficult place, really to drive and really edgy for the drivers to know when the car is going to step out. You see a guy like Kyle Larson have that, or Kyle Busch have that car step out and spin out. Josh Berry leading the race, spin out. It's just
carries
right
so
on
much speed here,
right on edge, and so fast.
And everybody coming in here thought turn 2 was calamity corner. It's to use Chris Economacki's term, but it's been turn 4 where a lot of these incidents have happened today.
Oh, they've been trading off and on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're taking turns.
Let's have a look at Fox around the turn. The Indy cars will race on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. We'll be in Kansas with the NASCAR Cup Series next Sunday. Pre-race 1:30, the race at 3 o'clock Eastern on FS1. And on Sunday, May 18th, the NHRA is back in action from Chicago, 2 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Still 27 to go here, and 26 cars on the lead lap. Let's have a look and show you in case you missed it today. Denny Hamlin at lap 75 blew up. That was after the first caution at lap 21. Josh Berry spun from the lead at lap 126. Then Chris Buescher hit the wall, cut down a tire, limped around the racetrack, but debris put out the caution. Then Bubba Wallace gets turned around and 6 cars pile up at lap 173. And then Kyle Busch at lap 229 spins off turn number 4. That was caution flag number 9. We're currently working the 10th one. At lap 237, Carson Hocevar into Ryan Preece, and Cody Ware also involved. 30 cars, well, make that 28 cars on the racetrack, with Preece and Ware having gone to the garage.
How about this leader today? The month of May, what are we, 4 days in? He's raced 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, he raced twice yesterday.
Unbelievable.
That's right. He won the Xfinity race, subbing for Connor Zillage, whose back is mending, and then went right off the backstretch to the dirt track here to drive a high limit sprint car.
Yeah, they were hosting a high limit deal, hosting a 3-race weekend here. Big weekend for them. Old dirt track's been there a long time. Put on a lot of good memories over there. Old track had to have been heavy with all this rain that they've had in this area. You know them babies were flying.
He just reminds me so much of the drivers of the Parnelli Jones, A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti era. Anything, anytime, race it to win. And they would, and he does.
But look, doesn't he just look bored? You've seen all the rest of the guys wiping their eyes, doing stuff. He just always just so chill. His demeanor is so calm. You cannot make this kid mad. I've seen him mad like once in my life.
And the other thing is he races. You can't rattle him either.
Nothing.
Even, you know, if he's flipped upside down or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he just is in so many scenarios that he can adapt and adjust. And see him right here taking the lead in the Xfinity race yesterday and driving off into the sunset.
But I think racing all that probably helps you overcome it too. I'm going to race tomorrow night. Get me another win. Get that behind me.
Passed Sam Mayer on that restart and drove off into the Texas sunset. Hoping to do the same today.
Well, this restart right here, Ryan Blaney hasn't been able to get a very good start on the last couple starts, and now he's going to have an opportunity to be side by side with Kyle Larson. He's got to fire off well to where he can get himself in a position to side draft and try to defend himself from being beat through the middle of turns 1 and 2 to have a chance down the back straightaway. So we got to get out of the restart box better.
Well, and Blaney has not been in clean air all day.
No, I still believe that his car may be faster in clean air than Kyle Larson's.
Well, he's got to get there, and this restart where he's going to do it.
Yep.
We've seen it all day today. The only other opportunities are lap cars, and with 25 laps to go, closing in on the end of this race, you're not going to see many lap traffic. So, very important to get them elbows up and get aggressive on this restart. Get yourself a good jump.
Alex Bowman, Jesse Love checked and released at the infield care center.
I believe you have to get in position of them almost before turn 1, Kevin, where you can crowd and take his exit away at 2. Starting on that outside, very challenging to do. Or you take the inside,
big surprise.
Don't worry about it.
Well,
did that surprise you?
That surprised me a lot.
Me too.
So much for everything we just said.
Scratch that off the record.
So he still won't be in clean air.
Yeah.
Blaney, that is.
Does it make you want to pit when you see that logo?
You know, I had that was my pit sign for a long time. You know, you see a lot of the guys just have their car number, and I think back to Suarez and SVG a few weeks ago when they pulled into each other's pits.
Yeah. Why'd you choose the happy face?
Well, they called me Happy because I was always so happy.
They didn't know you, did they? I'm kidding.
I was always confused on that as well.
It was really that was part of my fan club.
Happy Harvick
from the beginning.
Yep. Ever since I've known you, that's what they called you.
And that's been my pit sign for as long as I ever raced, and made it easy to find my pit stall. Something different.
That's right.
Didn't want to be just a number, Clint.
All right, it'll be 23 laps to go when we restart, and again, McDowell is on the outside of Kyle Larson. McDowell with those 2 tires on the last pit stop at lap 221. 22 laps ago. Not much green flag racing since. 2 caution flags since then. Well, let's try to settle this. Green flag.
Not another bad jump for Blaney.
Well, Michael McDowell's clear.
How about this?
Well, I'm interested to see what happened in the restart box right there.
Didn't see that coming. Reddick, Larson fight for second, and Blaney right there. Up the racetrack, way up the racetrack.
Oh my goodness, they let Ryan Blaney pass both of them.
What has happened to Larson? He is in trouble.
Blaney to second, setting sail after McDowell. Joey Logano in the picture. Eric Jones coming up.
Something's wrong with Larson. Now here's Logano going around him.
Yeah, and maybe if there's
single file out of turn 4. McDowell with a 3/4 second lead on Ryan Blaney. And here's third on back. Logano, Larson under fire from Reddick on the inside.
Yeah, I think maybe what happened right there, Clint, is they just got out of the groove, and when those cars get side by side like that, is
trouble back straightaway, and it is Custer, Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Cindric.
Just talking about Brad needing a good run here and capping this day off with a positive points.
Yeah, now it's broke.
Good grief. Caution flag number 11.
Yeah, and that's the way these races go. I mean, history is definitely repeating itself today.
Well, that had been the most improbable restart we have seen in a long time.
Got some kind of left rear, left front damage. Somebody hit me.
McDowell taking off from Larson, who is now 5th, and Brad Keselowski's race comes to an end.
Struggles continue, don't they?
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Brad up until this point.
He and Kyle Busch both. All right, let's see what happened here coming out of 2.
Well, you see he's obviously right here, but those 2 cars in front of him, he's kind of out of the groove, pointed wrong, gets up. That car is just light on its feet, come right out from underneath of it.
Well, it came out from underneath him, but those cars side by side in space like they were, and him being kind of in the middle of those 2 lanes, just it makes weird things happen with the aero side of these cars, and
look at this back here.
Spun out. And to your point, look at this back here. It's on the racetrack. It feels so narrow down that back straightaway. It is such a narrow distance between wall to wall. There is not a lot of room for air back there.
Man, did you see Gibbs just barely squeak by him in the wall?
And Austin Dillon on the inside.
Here comes Custer sliding in, and Busch as well. Cindric. He's been all over the place today, hasn't he?
Tell you who's had the most eventful day is Chris Buescher. Every time there's a crash, we're watching Buescher drive right through it and avoid everything.
Or downshifting.
Yes.
Well, he's done a good job of downshifting. He's made some ground up today by missing all those wrecks.
So from the last crash, Ryan Preece checked at the infield hospital and released, while Carson Hocevar is still in the race, but 3 laps down. This one with Keselowski sideways, clogging the track, and they pile up behind him. Ty Dillon also involved with the 3 cars that rolled to a stop here. Ware, Busch, and Cindric. Now, what happened to Kyle Larson on that restart? Let's listen in.
Sorry about that. He took off a fraction before me and got the push.
Still time to get it back. We'll size him up and see what we can do on the next one.
I think the second part of what he said was the most important thing. He got the push from Reddick. Larson had 0 help behind him. Blaney's having trouble on these restarts. I've noticed it several times with him. He just cannot get off of the line, and there's a big gap in front of him because of that. Reddick had the push on McDowell, pushed him right to the lead.
And I just, Blaney being second, I just would rather fire off and take my chances on the front row with some anticipation and roll speed getting into that box. It hasn't worked for him on the bottom.
All right, pit stops for the front row cars and Kyle Busch as Keselowski is hauled back to the garage. Chris Buescher stops as well here with 18 laps to go.
Well, it would be interesting to hear what Ryan Blaney and those guys are talking about. Clint and I were just trying to figure out exactly why we lose so much ground on all these restarts with the 12, but it has been very consistent as we've gone through the day.
I can't figure out whether he's spinning the tires or gearbox issues, something. That car has a gap in front of it almost every single restart here.
Michael McDowell's retention rate today is 89%. Here is Ryan Blaney's race. We'll get back to that in a moment, but Blaney fired off 24th, just outside the 20 mark at the end of stage 1, and top 10 end of stage 2. It's been all forward. Now McDowell, when I say 89%, his rate at holding position and not losing spots, 89%, like 8 out of 9. Jamie.
Well, when I interviewed his crew chief, Travis Peterson, you guys commented on how positive he was. Well, he's keeping that up. This was just moments ago.
All right, reset, log back in here. Really good job. They got nothing on you out front. Let's go. Lock in, deep breath, execute.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I thought he was in trouble. They were talking about all this optimism and the excitement of the win here, and I looked up and see Blaney and Larson, that have been two of the fastest cars on the racetrack in front of him, thought no way he's going to be able to have this opportunity. Blaney takes the bottom, opens that outside up, right to the lead we go.
Michael McDowell is in it to win it. Regan.
Well, guys, just something to think about on this 12 car of Ryan Blaney. Also, as we're watching him take the bottom there, he has been very, very loose most of the day today and struggling over the bumps, so much so that he said the bumps in 1 and 2 are almost shaking the car out from underneath him. I've got to wonder if maybe that looseness that he had been fighting, even though they've finally gotten it tightened up some right now, is maybe what's keeping him from picking that top lane.
Well, very, very possible. I mean, when your car is that edgy on the top side of this racetrack, and you know that bump in turn 4 is there, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you might, you're on edge and might push it over the edge.
Yeah, and Regan, that is a great point, because once things get going, once things sorted out, who's been the best at passing cars today? Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick. So you don't have to take chances on the restart if you're confident that once things get rolling, you can make those passes. But here we go.
Here we go. He chose the outside right here, and I like this choice. I think he's against a car that is not as good as what Kyle Larson was when he was battling up there. And I think at this point in the race, you gotta roll the dice and go for the win.
Larry, are we too late for trends?
Absolutely not. It's Texas, and it's late in the race. The last 3 races here with the Gen 7 the last 3 years, average of the last caution, about 7 laps from now. 9 laps to go, 1 overtime, but the final green flag stretch has been 6 or less laps in 3 of the last 4 Texas races.
Oh boy. How about Joey Logano up there in the second row? Since last week's finish got wiped out in Tech, he's still looking for his first top 5 of the year.
Yeah, and don't count him out. We've seen him win some of these races where you didn't even know where he was all day, and this is
one of those
this is just one of those days.
Yep, I agree with that.
Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, Ross Chastain, Ricky Stenhouse, and Daniel Suarez, and John Hunter Nemechek. That's your top 10.
You know Blaney's a driver that's going to go for it. He's going to put it all on the line, and you know how hungry McDowell is in his 71 with this golden opportunity right here. Pay window open.
15 to go, and they get to the stripe. McDowell's Chevy, Blaney's Ford. Here we go.
Well, that was just what Ryan Blaney needed, was that bump from that 5 car to keep him even with the 71. He didn't fire off great, but the 5 got him going, and here he is side by side.
Eric Jones way up high, steaming around the outside of Reddick. Stenhouse on the bottom.
This is for the win.
Yeah, this is for the win, but this is the part that Ryan Blaney is the most worried about right here as he goes through the middle of this corner. How will this car go over that bump?
Hit it straight.
Good so far. He's going to have a big run. Michael McDowell is going to side draft to try to keep him at bay.
And McDowell edges back ahead to turn 1. And around goes Reddick.
He saved it.
Down to the apron. He keeps going. Caution waves.
Who is in front here, guys?
Well, we have to go back to the last scoring loop, not the moment of caution.
Like I said, who was in front? Very important.
And they're saying Michael McDowell is the race leader. Moment of caution only comes into play for the finish of the race. Might have been caution from, rather contact from Daniel Suarez into Tyler Reddick.
I think there's possibly
Well, this could very well be the flow of the rest of this race.
"12 cautions."
You see them down here. They're going to be. Let's roll it here and see if 45.
Reddick.
I think 45 came down in front.
He
of
did.
him.
Yeah,
Running out of room.
He didn't realize that the 99 was all the way there, and
that fantastic save. That could have been huge.
99 big run, and look at this save by Tyler Reddick. Unbelievable that he saves this car.
Well, he saved a lot of other cars too. Yeah. You know, keeping that car under control and not letting it slide up the racetrack or snap up the racetrack kept a lot of other cars from getting wrecked.
And Buscher gets to avoid another one.
Back down through the gearbox, my man goes.
But this time, there's nothing to avoid. As
yeah, look at this, guys. Look how close this is up here. When that caution came out, those cars were side by side within a foot.
And that's how close it was at the last scoring loop, according to our ghost car.
This is getting good, Kevy.
Here's Tyler Reddick.
99, Jeremy? Yeah, close to 99. Well, I don't know how, but I still have a race car, so let's hoping we'll pit.
He did a good job of keeping it underneath of him and not sliding up in front of traffic when he got down there to 1 and 2.
Yes, watching, you may have wondered, why the caution? He straightened it out, he saved it. Well, when that car's sideways, sliding across the racetrack, and there's still 20 cars onrushing right into that scene, yes, you need the caution flag.
Absolutely. And 9 times out of 10, that car is going backwards up the racetrack or snapping back up the hill into traffic. And as soon as you can get them slowed down, that's definitely the right call.
Well, that was an amazing save. Here it is again.
Pay attention to Suarez too. He didn't have to see. He was all the way down in the grass on that one. Barely missed it. Gets down to here. He's out of room as well.
Yeah.
Actually touched the dirt, didn't he?
And you can't go in the grass. We've seen what that has done the last several days. They've cut it down today to try to keep these cars from ripping the noses off of them. But you know, I would say that that's not on Suarez, in my opinion.
Yeah, that little area in the quad oval has taken its toll. Here in the truck race Friday night, that 17 got deep into it, following the truck in front of him. And then in the Xfinity race, we had not one but 2 incidents at that location. Here was the first, and a 3-car dust up, and here was the second one.
And Suarez saw that, and that's why he didn't move.
By the way, that gap at the last scoring loop was 1/1000th of a second.
Unbelievable.
First to second. Now here's Daniel Suarez version of what happened.
Man, I was gonna keep the grass or hit him. Can't do anything different, right? Like, can't drive through the grass. So you did it. Just forget about that. We're gonna be restarting inside the top 8 here with 10 to go or less.
Suarez is 8th. McDowell, Blaney, Logano, Larson up at the front. Blaney again choosing the outside.
Big restart here.
Well, the biggest thing that happened on the last restart, as you see the 71 crew so nervous, but the biggest thing that happened on the last restart was Ryan Blaney knows what his car can do on the outside, so he can make an adjustment now if he can get fired off side by side with McDowell.
Will he get that little bump from Larson this time? Will McDowell get one from Logano? Let's see.
Been 58 races since McDowell's been in victory lane. He will go for it.
10 to go.
Well, and there you see it again. Ryan Blaney gets a little bit more help from the 5 than they get on the bottom of the racetrack.
And Blaney with the run down the back straightaway. Edge is ahead.
Not so fast.
McDowell stuffs it into turn 3 on the bottom.
McDowell clear.
Take it,
How about this, Kevin?
Well, you just never know what clean air is going to do to this cars, and that grit and determination by Michael McDowell. And now you see Joey Logano on the inside of Ryan Blaney.
Teammates battling for second.
And Mister, where did he come from? Chastain is in the picture.
Ross Chastain up to 4th. Eric Jones to 5th.
Haven't seen Chastain all day long. Closing laps of this race, money on the line. My man is here.
And that's what they've done all year with this one car. They haven't had the speed that they've wanted, but this one car has figured out how to grind their days out and get decent finishes out of it.
This race is not over. 8 to go.
No, the front 5 have pulled away from Kyle Larson and the rest of the field.
These Penske guys are going to give him all they want. A lot of laps on the left sides of these tires on the 71 car. The longer they run, the less of advantage he'll have of this clean air.
And I think that the cycles on the tires have helped Michael McDowell get a little more even with these guys. But the most important thing he has right now is that clean air.
Well, he's got the fastest lap, 28.93. Flats behind him. Go, Cat, go. 7 to go.
Spire Motorsports started 2 cars in the top 5. Hocevar on pole, and Michael McDowell, who's now leading, started in 5th.
So he missed the bottom right there in 3 and 4 a little bit, Kevin. Are the tires giving up?
Well, that car is naturally going to be tighter on those 2 tires. So you see Joey Logano now up the racetrack trying to find something different, and he's going to have a big run. He made that work through turns 1 and 2, Clint.
Logano was 0.13 faster that lap.
And I saw him slip up down there in 3 and 4, missed that bottom. That's where you're going to start to see this. Closing laps, this is not over. Logano's catching him.
He is catching him, and that cat and mouse game is what are you going to do on the entry to the corner? Joey's going to try to go the opposite way that Michael McDowell goes.
You saw McDowell, the pipes lit up right there. A lot of off throttle time. Do not miss your marks. Mirror drive, mirror drive. Take the air off of the 22 car. That is the name of the game.
And
that's exactly what you saw right there.
It'll be 4 to go when they come back.
That was a good block right there.
And the closer that Joey Logano is to the back bumper of that 71 car, the more important that it is to make him go exactly behind that race car. Seems like in 1 and 2, he's content to let that 22 car run that second lane and then be able to put that car in position. But Joey's there.
Big run for Logano off turn 2. Drops to the bottom. McDowell all the way down to the white line to block, and he has to gain control of the car and give up the lead.
He's going to lose second, too.
Logano, Blaney now. First and second with 3 to go.
Went right back to the middle of 1 and 2. He was struggling in the center of the corner, saw he missed the bottom, and Logano pounced on him. Can you believe this 22 car is in the lead?
McDowell did everything he could.
Oh, he's
in the wall. Michael McDowell crashes off Calamity Corner.
Huge hit.
He slid up. I lost all the air.
Dang it.
All good, man.
So close.
The glass slipper broke.
Yeah, and it's amazing how fast things can turn around for you. One move there off of turn 2 where he didn't keep the momentum. Went for the huge block, lost the momentum in 1 and 2, got stuck behind Ryan Blaney into the fence, and just completely different story in a matter of seconds.
He said it on the radio as soon as he got in the wake of this car. Watch this. Blaney completes the pass, gets in front of him, and he crosses that wake much like a boat. Look at that.
There.
As soon as it got in there, took the air off of him.
It got loose. It got loose.
It's just like a wake of a boat. It's how I explain the draft behind these cars. And as soon as he got that, look at that. Right as soon as that car pulled up in front of him, takes the air off of him.
Yep.
Came around.
And I feel like, he got into desperation mode when he ran the 22 down on the apron. I don't feel like he needed to run him that far down the apron. I feel like he could have side drafted right there and at least gave himself a fighting chance.
He'd have been door to door getting in 3. I agree.
Feel like it. I feel like it, but
he had a big run at him at the end of the day.
All right, let's listen in to Michael McDowell.
Sorry, boys. Shrine. Sorry. Yeah, man. Good effort. We got your back.
There is no harder charger in. I think we're going to say the same thing.
Exactly.
In this series. than Michael McDowell when he has a chance.
There's nobody that can say he wasn't trying. He went for it. And on a deficit. Do not forget that that car had those 2 tires on it on a lot of laps. Worse deficit on his left side tires than what he was competing against with Logano and Blaney.
So we will restart with perhaps 4 or 5 laps to go. This is not over. Don't start polishing the trophy for Team Penske just yet. They have the first 2 spots. And here's how Logano got the lead.
Well,
Look at him come off the bottom.
Yeah, he missed the bottom right there, and Logano was able to nail that second lane through 1 and 2, and then he decides to run him down all the way to the apron right there. And I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking right there other than to end the block, but he had a really bad angle going in the corner. I think he'd have been better off just to try to stay even.
Side draft with him.
Side draft into turn 3, but easy to say sitting up here.
Let's go on board Joey Logano.
Now, still there, short, quarter, clear, headlight down, Blaney's broken a bottom, 2 bottoms, Blaney side by side, 3 laps to go.
Now that was, we talked about McDowell's, courageous effort to try to block him and keep the win right there. That was some big time confidence of the 22 car. He was completely off the racetrack, way down on the apron, horrible entrance to the corner, and still left his foot in it, slid up in front of him. The rear end was wiggling all over the place. He could have wrecked right there. Instead, he's in the lead and trying to get this baby closed out.
Well, for you fans to go back to 1979 and the Daytona 500 on CBS, that had a whole lot of look of Donnie Allison, Cale Yarborough to it, because that is just about what happened, except that day it did not end well.
No, it did not.
Never checked.
Ended in a fight.
Yes. 8 different winners in the last 8 races at Texas. Names not on that list? Well, include your top 4 right now.
Well, and you talk about that top 4, Clint. When you look at row 2,
plenty of aggression in that row as well.
Plenty of aggression right there.
Regan.
Well, Michael McDowell just climbing out of the car on pit road. Michael, so close today. You guys had a gutsy performance on those 2 tires. Looked like you got caught up in the wake back there.
Yeah, I just really hate it for everybody on the Aspire Motorsports 71 Delaware Live Chevrolet. We were giving it everything we had there to, try to keep track position. And Joey got a run there. I tried to block it. I went as far as I think you could probably go. And then when Blaney slid up in front of me, just took the air off of it, and I lost the back of it. So, I still had the fight in me. I probably should have conceded at that point. But, I'm just proud of everybody at Aspire Motorsports. I know that's not the day we wanted, but we had an opportunity to win the race. Really proud of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, Hendrick Engine Shops. You guys saw those restarts. Motors are ripping. So, just hate we didn't get it done, but we knew we had to go for it. So, we went for it, and it didn't work out.
All right, we appreciate the effort. Thanks.
Thanks, Regan. Good hustle. 8 of the top 10 have not won yet this season. 5 of those are below the playoff cut line. And it's, if you win, you're in the playoffs.
How many cautions are we up to now?
12.
Well, either way, we're in overtime now. And
you think we're done with them?
It all depends if we can make it through the first 2 corners, Clint.
That's solid intel out of you.
Yeah.
Very solid.
It wouldn't surprise me if we did not.
Hey, with this second row, it's easy to talk about the Penske cars racing for this win, but the second row, tons of aggression. You're hungry on both of those cars, big time.
Who's the best out of that group on restarts? Kyle Larson, out of those top 5.
There's a Logano fan. Yep. Nervous.
Team Penske on the front row, Logano and Blaney, both looking for their first win of the season. Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, then Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez.
And you
Ricky
know,
Stenhouse.
if he gets the opportunity, Ross Chastain is going to put this thing 3 wide.
3 wide. Need a big push here out of the second row on either side of the equation for the Penske cars.
It'll be 2 laps to go. Green flag.
Man, they stacked them up. That's as tight as the whole field has been.
Pretty slow start, wasn't he?
Whoa, Ty Gibbs squirreled around there, but saves it. A lot of action in the back. Up front, side by side, but Logano pulls away. Here comes Chastain. He's to the inside of Blaney and is going by for second.
Yeah, you see Ricky Stenhouse in the middle right there for fourth place.
Larson and Jones surround
Never
him.
lifted.
Austin Dillon moving up. And Logano trying to drive away. White flag, 1 to go.
Well, Joey Logano has done a great job today. They started deep in this field, and he has driven his way to the front, capitalized on every situation, and put himself in position to win this race.
Logano 5th at the flag last week, disqualified for a missing nut on the spoiler brace. Redeems it all right here around turn 3 and 4. Joey Logano will get his 37th win. The AAA Ford for Roger Penske will go to victory lane.
Way to go, guys! Yeah! Way to fight! Yeah!
That's unbelievable. All the way from 27th.
Yeah, and he says way to fight on that radio.
Hell of a job there, Ken.
Ross Chastain, I watched these restarts. He just kept clicking them off one by one on the restarts. Very aggressive, and it paid off with all these cautions coming out late. How about Ricky Stenhouse? 6th place. Austin Dillon, good finish for him. Nemechek as well. Much needed good runs for all of those cars.
Well, and that's the way you rebound from a penalty. You go out and you win the next week.
And behind them, Bell, Suarez, and Todd Gilliland, top 10. So well done. Boy, that last 2 laps was rather anticlimactic compared to the 20 or so that preceded it.
Well, when Blaney slipped up and couldn't stay to his outside, the race was over.
And I think Blaney knew that he was at a deficit with as loose as his car was. That's why he hadn't been picking the top. But there at the end, you just got to throw caution to the wind and see how it all works out.
Joey has one prior win at Texas, but it came 11 years ago. And he extends the string. He is the 9th different driver to win at Texas in the last 9 races.
Well, he went ahead and took care of the top 5. No top 5 streak. He went ahead and took care of the no wins problem. We just got them all checked off the list today, Clint.
Fixed it. Win fixes everything. Always has, always will.
You mentioned Ricky Stenhouse. That 6th place finish will move Stenhouse above the cut line, 16th of those who would qualify for the NASCAR playoffs. A wild day in Texas. 12 caution flags, and Joey Logano goes to victory lane from 27th starting position. Christopher Bell and John Hunter Nemechek talk it over. Nemechek finished 8th and Bell 9th. Let's go down to Jamie Little.
Well, this certainly hasn't been the season we've come to expect from the defending series champion Joey Logano. No top 5s, 1 top 10, Joey. How about this for redemption? How good does it feel to be back here?
No, the sport changes so quickly. It's crazy how he can just ride these roller coasters, and just proud of the team. If I finally get AAA insurance into victory lane. They've been a partner of mine since I've been to Penske, so 13, 14 years, and we've yet to win with them. So it was awesome to get that done here. The Jail Kids crew is here, the kids, so we'll have fun with them at victory lane. A lot of people here. My family, they're at home. But hey, Brittany, the kids, love you guys. It's going to be a fun night.
Joey, you started so deep in the field at a place where all of you drivers said it's going to be so hard to pass. How did you prevail and win this one in overtime?
I just slowly, methodically, a couple at a time. We had a really tough pit stall situation. The pit crew did a good job at managing that, and just grabbed a couple here and there. The car was fast. I knew that yesterday. I did a poor job qualifying, and just grinded it out. Just keep grinding, a couple here and a couple there, and eventually get a win here. So it's nice to get one. Real nice.
Joey Logano wins it at Texas Motor Speedway.
Ryan Blaney comes home in 3rd place today. Ryan, it was a full day for you today. A pit road speed and penalty. You guys battled back from that, get yourself back to the front. I know you were battling the car for a little while, but it seemed like it got really good at the end for those last restarts. What more did you need on those outside restarts?
Yeah, I don't know. The one time I didn't pick the outside, the 71 gets the lead, and and then I couldn't get it back. So just driver making dumb decisions and not doing his job. So appreciate 12 cars, fast car. So just can't do nothing right currently. So hopefully it'll work itself out.
All right, thanks, Ryan. We're going to walk back here and see if we can catch up with Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain seemingly comes out of nowhere to get a second place finish today. Ross, you guys had to work all day long and battle through. A great result at the end, though.
Yeah, that's a working class day. That's enough reason to go to Tootsie's next time I'm in Nashville. I want to head straight there. Gosh, that's a working day. Just no confidence in the car yesterday, and y'all saw that. And just the speed of the Trackhouse cars on Saturdays is just terrible. And we're just not confident, all three drivers. So there was one pit stop today that Phil Surgeon and the group, it takes a ton of people back at Trackhouse and on the box here and GM at Chevrolet. And they made me a confident driver all of a sudden with one adjustment. And it was small stuff. It doesn't even make sense. But after that, I was a confident driver. We still had a jack brake, so hats off to Shane to quickly recover and get that other jack out there. But, yeah, just I can't drive an uncomfortable car. I can't personally. So as soon as they got it comfortable or at least gave me some confidence, we started going forward.
All right, and we're going to sneak back. Thanks, Ross, for talking to us. We're going to sneak back here to Kyle Larson. Kyle, you had control of the good majority of the race today. They lost the control of the race on that one restart there. Was that the difference for you?
Yeah, it was. I just, you don't want to give up the lead on a mile and a half. It's hard to get it back. And, yeah, Michael just did a good job timing it. You know, I left early the restart before and was going to leave early again then. And, you know, he just anticipated it and left. You're probably right with me or just barely before. And he had Reddick, you know, pushing him behind him. So, yeah, I wish I could go back and do that all over again. So, yeah, just a bummer, but try to learn from it.
All right, thanks, Kyle, for talking to us. And Eric Jones, we'll come back here and get one more. Eric Jones with a great top 5 performance for Legacy Motor Club. Eric, I imagine this has got to feel great to get a top 5.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I guess somebody just told me it's Kansas 23 since we had a top 5 on a non-speedway. So, yeah, it's a while, but they're just proud of Legacy, proud of this group. It's been a long road last year and a half, and was happy to see the Advent Camry up front, happy to be up front in contention. It was kind of a long day with some penalties, but, you know, ended up in contention for it, so it was fun.
All right, nice run today. Thanks.
Well, let's go back to the restart and see how this finished up with Logano inside Blaney.
Yeah, well, Blaney actually fires pretty good right here, but as you've seen on the last couple restarts, he just doesn't get through the middle of the corner quite as good as Joey Logano or Kyle Larson or any of those guys. And actually, Ross Chastain gets by Blaney, and once Joey Logano got that track position and didn't have any other challengers, he just drove off.
Of the top 12 finishers, only one of them started in the first 6 rows. That was Kyle Larson, who wound up 4th. Everybody else came from deep in the field.
Another wild one here,
It became a day of attrition. You look at all those restarts and everything that went with it. It was survival.
Joey Logano, our defending Cup champ, gets to celebrate. Next weekend, practice and qualifying from Kansas, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday from Prime. Sunday, NASCAR race day, 1:30 Eastern on FS1, followed by the Advent Health 400, 3 p.m. Eastern next Sunday on FS1. Coming up next, PBA Bowling Playoffs Round 1. Congratulations, Joey Logano, a winner in Texas.
Look out, I'm coming. Look out. Look out. Drivers, start your engine. I'm a dangerous man.
Didn't lock it down.
That car is tore up.
At the top of the mountain, climbed all the way up and never looked down. If the road was rough, we might not have found the blood and some guts and thousands of hours. We welcome you now to our arena. If you don't know right now, it's hard to beat us. You can tell by our demeanor how hard we leaning. You will remember when you see it in lights. We are
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.